This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
And the pitch is swung on, hit the right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back at the track, over his head, and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez with a drive to deep right, away back, goal!
Go Hayes! Hits a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime.
It is a Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, from spring training. Ho Camp Park in Mesa, Arizona. Day 2, A's Cast Live here in the Valley of the Clouds, the wind, and hopefully at some point the sun. Now, the good news is that the games are going to start on Saturday, and as we go forward, the weather is going to get better. It's going to get warmer. And so when you guys all head up, we're just getting you ready for when you come down here. So when you come down here, it'll be sunscreen, it'll be shorts, it'll be hot, and you will be ready to rock. We got a great show for you today. The Super Scout, the legend, A's legend, Grady Fuson. We got to talk to him over at Fitch Park as we were watching a little practice going on today. He is going to show up here around 1:10, 1:15 your time. Kyle Muller, I got to tell you, I was seriously excited about Tyler Soderstrom yesterday. I got to tell you, Sodi got me excited. Well, Kyle Muller got me really excited today. You're going to love this interview coming up at 1:30. This is the big left-handed kid. He's been compared to Madison Bumgarner for his toughness, his style, his come after you. And Madison Bumgarner, if that's what you're going to get with Kyle Muller, take that any day of the week. We're talking about Giants, Madison Bumgarner.
Not the Snakes.
By the way, I think we have the volume on the camera. Do you hear it through there? You don't? Okay. So Kyle Muller is going to join us coming up here at 1:30. Tony Kemp at 2 o'clock. Sammy Spin Rate, Sam Moll will be here at 2:30. JP Sears at 3 o'clock. Trevor May at 3:30. And yes, he is alive. He is safe. Brody Brazil from NBC Sports, California. I saw him just moments ago in the clubhouse and reprimanded him for not returning your text. I believe he's returned your text. What's the verdict?
He said it's a waiting game right now, but he should have some time to do it. He said he found out he'll be here tomorrow as well.
Yeah, but he's leaving by noon, so it's not going to work for us. So he's probably going to need to, if we were going to have Brody Brazil today, and all the NBC guys were here. We saw Glenn Kuiper, we saw Dallas Braden, and of course, the most important one of all, A's Hall of Famer, the great Dave Stewart, was here. Good to see Stu as they were taking all their pictures and they're getting ready for the 2023 season. But, the more you're down here and the more you go over to Fitch and you look at the practices, you're starting to understand that the A's have put together a pretty, I would say a pretty good young starting rotation. When I mean pretty good, I'm not saying wins. When you look at stuff, you look at ability, you look at talent, there's growing pains, there's a growing process with young players. When you talk good young staff, where you talk, oh wow, they got some arms, the A's have put that together. And Kyle Muller is going to impress you from the standpoint of you're going to hear a kid you're going to hear it and you're going to see it where he says, I'm done with the minor leagues. I'm done with it. I've been there, done that. I'm ready to pitch at the major league level. It's impressive. Yes, that's it. What did you just press?
I muted my microphone.
There's I could hear like an echo or something going on.
I don't know if it's because we're so close, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, move the hell over.
but we're usually as close when we do things.
I don't know. I could hear like something, but you just did that, and then it went away. So, Kyle Muller, that's it. Big kid, left-handed, Waldachuk, Sears. I mean, you've got some talent that the A's are going to be able to, I think, impress some people from a standpoint of starting pitching. Bullpen's going to be much better. Bullpen's going to be more consistent. I think it's crazy to think that the A's lose 100 games. The more you're down here, I mean, barring injury and whatever, I think it's crazy. I think it's absolutely crazy they lose 100. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be dramatically better. I'm not saying but losing 100 games. I mean, does that, obviously you get down here, you start talking to the guys, you gain a little extra confidence, but knowing what it was like last year, and last year was like, oh my God. I mean, it was really, oh my God. I don't get that feeling this year. There's better players. There's better talent. There's better overall talent. I mean, I don't get this. Hey, they could lose 98. I just don't get the sense they're losing 100 games.
Well, 98's on 100, so that's good. I mean, Pacoda has his.
Put it this way. If they don't lose 100, you win your bet on the A's over and under win total.
Yeah, well, when we first saw it, it was like 59.5.
It's like 60 still, like 60,
yeah.
60 and a half.
And Pacoda had us when I looked last week or early. Yeah, it was early this week or late last week. It was like 65 wins, 64.5 it was. So round up 65. That's on 100 losses. I mean, it's 97 losses, but still, it's not. It's better than losing 100. The clubhouse is very upbeat. The guys we have in the clubhouse here and we've talked to, they seem ready to go. And I'm excited that the Kyle Muller conversation was very exciting. I'm glad we were able to get him, and fans are going to be excited for him.
He's a guy that you go, wow, that's impressive. I'm telling you, you're going to watch this and you're going to go, he wants to be the dude. He is somebody that's like, I'm here, I'm ready to compete, I want to win, and I want to do it at the big league level, and I'm not going to be apologetic about it. And that's the kind of confidence. That's the kind of confidence you need at this level. You've got to believe you're the guy, and he believes he's the guy. And that, to me, speaks volumes. As Grady Fuson's going to join us. Come on over, Grady. Grady Fuson's going to join us. That's exactly what you need when you talk about great players. How do we want to put Grady? Where do we want to put him?
Well, you can sit here if you want. Or over there's fine in that chair.
We'll move the chair around for a man that has won basically every award you can win as a scout. He's a legend in our game, and he's been a big part of the A's family for many, many years, and has made sure he's been able to help the A's stay afloat during some of these times. The great Grady Fuson joins us here on A's Cast Live. Let's move that over just a little bit. How are you, my friend? Good to see you.
I'm warmer than I was yesterday.
Yesterday was, this whole spring training Valley of the Sun stuff was out the window yesterday.
No, it's not spring training. It's winter training.
It was unreal. Like, you had to cancel all the pop-up drills and everything over there.
The morning was worse with our mini campers because they get the bulk of the rain. And the wind wasn't too bad, but it was wet and, cold and uncomfortable. But
so when we're over there today at Fitch, and we're seeing, hey, it's Fuji pitching to hitters, and here's Waldachuk pitching to hitters. What can you really evaluate out of like 40 pitches or so when you're looking at a guy facing hitters for the first time in the spring?
Well, for us, we got so many new people that, some people are just laying their eyes on these guys for the first time. So, I've seen all the sides back here and everything else. So it's like Fuji. I mean, the stuff is real. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. But, we got so many new young guys. It's just good to get your eyes on them a few times so that you have some knowledge of what they throw, how they throw, what they look like, where the goods are, where the bads are, and as we go into the spring.
Yeah, when you talk about a guy that throws 98 to 100 miles an hour and it looks like it's just almost effortless, and he's got that split finger, you knew that last year in the Japanese league, the light went on. Like the last 3 months, he got the control, started to dominate. What are your expectations? Because you've seen a lot of guys who have stuff. You've seen a lot of guys who have it, and then they get on the mound in a Major League Baseball game, and they don't have it. So
yeah,
how do you see this?
It's usually not guys with this kind of stuff, and it's not guys that have gotten to this level. So in his case, he struggled for what? Something clicked, as you said, the light went on, and all of a sudden he's around the zone. But there's still some things, I don't know if you noticed, but we kicked that off with him throwing to 2 lefties first.
I got there when I didn't see the first guy, I saw the second lefty. Okay. So we didn't see a righty right out of the gate.
Yeah, let's make sure he's in the strike zone. But it was good.
Well,
and there's many guys like him. This camp has got some stuff in it. Muller's a good-looking, big-bodied guy with stuff, and there's a few people.
Well, we were just talking about Kyle Muller as we had him on the show today, and immediately, talking to him for the first time, you immediately understand he's got confidence. He admitted, "I'm done with the minor leagues. I've been up and down. I'm ready to pitch at the big league level every 5 days. I love to see that kind of confidence." And he looks like the guy who wants to be the dude. And one thing that we have lacked recently is that kind of stuff on the mound. Yeah. We now are getting to a point where we're having that stuff again. And talk about Muller, because I like that confidence. I like that confidence when he says, "Hey, I can be the guy."
Yeah, well, as well as anybody, over the years, even when we were good and we were going to the wild card every year, the playoffs, we never had that ace.
Yeah.
We had decent pitching staffs, but we didn't have an ace. And to get into the playoffs and get deeper into the playoffs, you got to have 1, 2, 3 guys possibly in your rotation that have a chance to go out there and dominate. We lack that. So now when you see guys, even though they're young and they haven't really been tested at the big league level, they're a click away from hopefully being dominant and being top of the rotation type guys. The biggest thing when you start developing these kind of guys and you start looking down the road to the future, young position players have to match up. So you go back to 2010 when I came back here from San Diego, and pretty good rotation. You had Anderson in there, you had Cahill in there, you had Jared Parker in there. You had 3 or 4 guys that were all pretty good.
Gio was emerging at that time.
Gio Gonzalez was in there but you had no players. Right? We did not have a very good offensive team. We didn't get on base. We didn't homer. So, you can eliminate so many games that you end up losing 3-2, 2-1 because you just don't have the offense. Then we kind of went through this trend where we built this offense, and we thought we were going to be on time with the pitching. And all of a sudden the pitching went awry. So when we had Chapman and Ole and Murphy and those guys, coming through, you were counting on a Puck. You were counting on a Luzardo. You were counting on a couple other guys that end up breaking down or whatever it is, and it never did match up. So the best scenario, especially a smaller market team that's building from trades and from within, is the arrival time in the big leagues and the youth, have to be in time so that you can keep them together, keep them going. Then you end up with a 5, 6, 7-year run.
Well, that's always interesting to me when you talk about building a franchise. And when you go back to that era, I remember when Kevin Kuzminoff showed up. I was trying to sell Kevin Kuzminoff like he was the next MVP. Oh, he comes over from Petco Park, and now he's going to hit over. Yeah, that never happened. He's good. He's still in the system.
Yeah, he's our hitting coach in Stockton.
He's still in the system. But, that's fans want to know, like, how do you build teams? And now it's very obvious with certain franchises that they rather just spend. I rather just spend the cash in free agency. I don't have to give up any prospects. I don't have to give up anything. I can just spend it. And it's different how teams are going to build. And when you're a team that's not going to go out and spend a couple $100 million on free agency, this is how you have to do it. And as you talked about, trying to align the sticks with the arms, not easy to do. A lot of things have to fall in place, and a lot sometimes it's just health.
Historically, that's kind of what we've done so well. We don't have that kind of money, so we never really have. So we rely on the draft, and then player development turns it over, and then you make trades. Some of these other clubs that are just filthy, the draft is secondary. They look at it the other way. Whatever we can get out of the draft, is extra syrup on the cake or something. But we've had to really do it through the draft and trades later on when they're, say, double A level and they're exposed and scouts and other organizations on them. And hopefully they're not a locked in fit here. So, there's still different ways of building this stuff in your system.
Scouting maybe has or hasn't. Just from the outside looking in, it looks like it has changed a lot. What is so much different now, or maybe it's not, but what's so much different now, if it is, from when you first got in to where I understand technology and everything, but just how we really view players? Has it really changed that much?
How we really view them, no. But I think the analytics have, in a lot of organizations, have dominated the final opinion. So, the draft used to be a scouts thing with a scouting director leading the parade. I think over the years, every GM has always been involved in a first rounder, whether they went and saw him or whether they had a lot of discussions with the scouts and film and the scouting director. But now everybody has an analytical model that they use in coordinates with the evaluations that are coming in from the scouts. And so those final decisions more and more are being made analytically.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. How much does that still matter in our game?
I think it matters a lot. I mean, there's always going to be a place for good evaluators. Like say our cross checkers, and we have some area guys that most of our people would say are very, very good. But like anything in the game, area scouts are waiting to be supervisors. Supervisors are waiting to be national cross checkers. National cross checkers are waiting to be scouting directors. The turnover in the business is much greater than it was when I started. I mean, when I started, even if you were good and your club thought you were good, you were an area guy for 10 to 15 years. Now there's area guys that get a job and they're moving up the next year. And they don't have that constant experience before being elevated in positions. So that's changed a great deal as well.
Wow, we kind of see that in coaching too, right?
Yeah,
You got guys are moving around faster than ever before.
Yeah, that's because there's so much change at the big league level. Look at how many coaches get let go after every year at the big league level. That trickles down. They either go out and get somebody from another organization or they promote from within. So the next thing you got. Plus, there's so many additions to jobs now that people are creating. We had a Zoom call probably 3 weeks before we came to camp. Eddie Sprague put it together just for all the new hires that we've made just in player
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Oh, we love talking to the new A's. Ryan Noda joins us here, taking in the Rule 5 draft. We talked about it, if you remember, when we were doing the show in San Diego, and it was at the very end of the winter meetings, they do the Rule 5 draft. We find out that we get this guy, and we go, wait a minute. Big kid, first baseman. Oh, we know why he's available. They just signed Freddie Freeman to a long-term deal. We'll bring him on board. Welcome to the Oakland Athletics.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
I got to think for you, when you got that news that you're going to the A's, big smile on your face. No offense, you probably love playing for the Dodgers, right? But once they take on a Freddie Freeman in a contract like that, he's a great player, obviously. You want a place to play in the big leagues, and you found it here with the Oakland A's.
Yeah, I respect the Dodgers org, great people. They treated me, unbelievable. But that Freddie signing definitely got me stuck. And, fortunately enough, the A's got me in the Rule 5 draft, and now I'm here and excited to get going.
Especially where you are in your career, where you're right there, right? This is, there's times where you've had your minor league seasoning, you've had your at-bats in the minor leagues. It's now time for you to be here. So it's almost, sometimes Rule 5s are too early in players' careers. It just seems like this is like the actual perfect time for you.
Yeah, definitely. I've been through every, minor league station, starting at square one in rookie ball all the way through AAA. So I definitely have a lot of at-bats under my belt in professional baseball. And, I'm just excited to, get that chance. And hopefully it's here with the A's and help win some ball games.
Yeah, everything for you is being an everyday guy, because what a lot of people in the scouting report will say, everybody's going to look at you offensively. And it's like, hey, we'll talk about offense, but don't go to sleep on the defense.
Yeah, I definitely pride myself in defense. Definitely started in college. Had a great, infield coach in John LeCalf. He worked me hard, and, a lot of extra time and a lot of time over at first, get a little bit of time at short, just get them feet moving. And, it's definitely paid off, and I take pride in it. Good first baseman equals a good infield. So
there's no doubt. We have seen that when you have a guy who can pick it, the amount of errors that you save everybody, the amount of outs that you save, because we all know you give extra outs, that's death at the big league level. It's a death at any level. But first baseman can save so much. That's why it always bothers me when they talk about how, with defensive metrics, we devalue first base defense. It's like, are you insane? I mean, a great first baseman saves you so much, but as you say, you go over to short. I'm not going to say you're a shortstop, but you're a good athlete. You can also play in the outfield. So, I mean, for you, it's about getting your bat in the lineup. So whether you're at first, you can play the corners. We were joking off the air before he showed up. Maybe a little center field the way Mark Hanna did.
Yeah, I don't know. We got some pretty good guys out here in center field that can track it down a little bit better than I can. But any way I can get in the lineup and, like I said before, help the team win. And that's all that matters at the end of the day, is just getting a W no matter where I'm playing and where I'm at in the lineup, as long as I can, produce and, help get the win at the end of the day.
Well, also, too, in the way baseball works with the movement of all the different players, a 26-man roster, how many pitchers, we now take the max amount of pitchers. That means less guys on the bench. So versatility to really be able to say more than just put your bat in the lineup. The fact that you don't have deep benches and that you can play first, you can play left, you can play right. That versatility plays big.
Yeah, this day and age especially. It's been a big part of baseball, I think, in the past at least 5 years, maybe 10 years, getting a lot of guys that can do both. You get a lot of switches late in games, guys going in the outfield, to track more balls down, getting some better guys in the infield. And, I think we got a good group of guys around here a lot of guys that can do both. And, I'm just trying to find my place, and hopefully it's at first, left, right, doesn't really matter.
You're one of these young guys who we're going to look back at kind of your generation of minor league players and go, what really happened? I mean, you lost a season with COVID. We have the lockout year. I mean, you had a lot of weird stuff that hopefully, knock on wood, doesn't happen ever again. My God, a
Yeah.
worldwide pandemic, the labor strife. I just talk about what these times have been like, because they haven't been normal to what traditionally players get and their growth growing through the minor leagues.
Yeah, it's definitely been tough. I could say that it was a grind. The start of COVID and going through that even after COVID, the year after COVID season, 21, it was still pretty tough. You had to follow a lot of guidelines. I got lucky enough that I played with a lot of good teams, a lot of good people, and we really meshed together, so it really helped, get through those times. But it was definitely a grind. You definitely learned if you really loved baseball or not.
That's fact. Because you know what? Minor league baseball, in a lot of ways, especially if you're not a super high draft pick and got the super big bonus, is a lot of survival anyway. Now you throw all of that on top of it. Man, I see why. And you probably know some guys that went, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to go get a job and start my career and do other things. I mean, that was definitely a tough time. I'm sure that was probably some tough conversations you had with some former teammates.
Yeah, definitely some tough conversations with former teammates, and you definitely understand. Everyone comes from different situations, so you just never know what they're going through. And this game's tough. It's tough to play baseball. You fail 7 out of 10 times, that means you're really good. And so, adding in COVID with a lot of the failures that come within baseball, just a lot of pressure for some people. And if they decide to get out of the game, it's probably the best decision for them. And I just tip my cap to them. They grinded just like me, and now they're doing a different grind.
Are you a Cincinnati Bearcat?
Oh yeah.
All right, so quite a few good players have come out of there, and you stayed in Cincinnati. How was Cincinnati? Because I used to work for the Raiders. I've been on the sidelines, Raiders, Bengals, and it's a lot colder than this. How do you do it in the off season, staying in shape, hitting, throwing, and doing all of that in Cincinnati?
Yeah, so Coach Guggen's over there at UC. He lets me come in, hang out with the team a little bit. Get to know some of the new guys, because all new faces now for me over there. And so I get to go in there, hang out with them a little bit. I got a couple facilities out there. One of my good friends owns a gym, so I get to work out there. A place called Stiggy's Hitting Factory.
Shout out Stiggy's.
Yep. He lets me go in, hit a little bit there. So I got some connections in Cincinnati that, keep me there and, keep me ready.
Most importantly, though, he's about 50 minutes outside of Chicago. He's from Illinois. That means he is a diehard Chicago Bears, White Sox on the south side, not the north side. It's the south side, not north, not east. We always joke because everybody goes south side. It's like, oh, my God, north side, south side. Chicago Bulls,
Yep.
Number 1 pick in the draft.
Bears.
I mean, yeah, Bears. Number 1 pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
What do?
Definitely don't pick a quarterback. We got our quarterback in
Justin Fields, huh?
Yeah,
You're all in?
I'm all in. I believe in him.
Ohio State Buckeye?
Oh yeah. I wouldn't mind trading it. Getting a couple picks in the first round. We need some offensive linemen and another wide receiver. I think our defense is young and going to be pretty good. I think Justin Fields, like I said, is going to be a problem in the NFL for a pretty long time. So as long as we can get some pieces, to protect them and, get some weapons on the outside, I think we're going to be pretty good over there in the North Conference.
So that's logical, but football fans are not football fans see number 1 pick. They see we got to get the guy we get is going to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. This is sexy. Everybody, it's the draft. It's all the lead up. When you say trade down and get a left tackle, even though left tackle is like literally the most important position other than quarterback, it's a rush and cover league. So quarterback's number 1, and then pass rusher and tackle are 1 and 2, right? Because you got to protect, you got to get the quarterback, you got to protect the quarterback. But it's not sexy. It's not sexy to trade down for linemen. It's not sexy to trade for. I mean, you got the number 1 pick, but I hear you. That's the smart thing to do. I'm not sure all Bears fans are gonna be like trade the number 1, but it really is a smart thing to do.
Yeah, if we don't trade it, I would love an edge rusher.
Get the quarterback.
Yeah, I think Will Anderson's going to be pretty good. Or if we can get, an interior guy like Jalen Carter over from Georgia. So We got some options. I hope they choose the right one. I think we got some good guys now in the front office that are going to make some good decisions for the team. So I'm excited.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you come on this show, we'll talk about a lot of different things. And once we get towards college football, we'll talk about your alma mater. We'll talk about the Chicago Bears. We talk about a lot of different things. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it. We wanted to let the A's fans get a look at the face. He's a good-looking kid. Could be your first baseman of the future. Thanks for stopping by. We've been excited since you were picked. Rule 5 down at the winter meetings in San Diego. We've been waiting to meet you, and can't wait to see you in Oakland in the green and gold.
Yeah, me either. And yeah, don't sleep on them Bearcats.
Appreciate it.
Nice meeting you.
Your future first baseman right here. Coming up next, is he there? Well, bring him on up. We're just going to pass the baton to the pitching coach.
Perfect.
Scott Emerson. Emo is a slim and trim. By the way, I think Emo's been running some hoops. I think he's been down in Carolina, maybe running with MJ and the boys there on Chapel Hill, looking slim and trim.
Hey, you just got to be in the best shape you can possibly be. You know, I was a shaper before; it was just round, and now
you change shapes.
I'm changing shapes. Yeah,
you're a rectangle now.
I just try to stay a stick shape.
I got to tell you, it's early. Obviously, it's early, and nobody's had to get anybody out for real. Nobody's had to make a pressure pitch for real. But I just think the collection of arms is something. I don't want to oversell it, because I wasn't overselling it last year. I'm excited of what I'm seeing. What about you with this collection of arms, whether it's starters, relievers, the volume of players that you have?
Yeah, just the physicality of these guys so far. You know, the front office did an amazing job of acquiring talent, and you know, it's our job to take that talent and actually get them to perform on the field. You know, so you know, it's one thing to see them throw their bullpens, maybe throw some batting practice, but it's another thing to see how they respond to a real action, to the real game, and see if they got the ability to slow it down. And I'm very excited for what we got right now.
Let's go over some of your pitchers. Shintaro, we got to meet him at the press conference. Scott Boras, we talked to him, and then talked to Fuji, as we like to call him. Obviously, there's an interpreter. Obviously, there's things that you're going to work through. So far, what's the experience been like with the big right-hander?
Man, I love it. I mean, big, strong, physical, got all the attributes that you're looking for out of a pitcher. Good fastball, moves fairly well. He's got the split game, a curveball. He can sink it. He can cut it. He's got a lot of the intangibles that you're looking for. And so far, an amazing person. Just a pleasure to be around each and every day. Wants to work, wants to learn, constantly asking questions. And that's the best part is, you know, he wants to be over here. And I think he's motivated to, you know, prove to people that he wants to be here and be one of the best in the world.
When I think about the control problems that we heard of that happened for years, big arm, always control problems. Last 3 months of his season, figured it out. Do you see any reasons why he may have had control problems or why he's figured that out?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny. I asked him a couple days ago, I said, how long have you wanted to, you know, be in the United States playing baseball? And he said, since high school. So, you know, you got a guy who was a star over there. And, you know, not to say that he got bored maybe, but maybe his goal was to be a major leaguer and he didn't see it for a while. And he might have gotten complacent a little bit. But, you know, the one thing I've been talking to him about is focus. You know, you got to be focused from one pitch at a time. And I think that motivation of him coming to the States, wanting to prove somebody wrong or prove it to himself that he's good. And I think that's going to be a really good motivator for him.
Ken Waldichuk, that last outing, we talked to him yesterday about it against Ohtani. You know, there was a lot of talk because it was like Ohtani's last showcase. Will he be the MVP? Will he get Cy Young votes? It was, you know, there's a lot of media there. And Waldichuk went out and outdueled him, pitched well. And what I love is he told us yesterday, I really didn't have my best stuff, and I relied on my changeup, which really isn't one of my best pitches. I said, so what you went out and actually pitched. You weren't a thrower, you were a pitcher. You went out, what was working that day, you utilized it, and you won. Just how much growth have you seen in him?
Well, what's the saying?
Well, hitting his timing.
Pitching his disruption of timing, and that's what he did that day. He went out there, and that's why the changeup for me is a valuable weapon. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to throw your pitches, a percentage of times, this pitch, this percent, this pitch, that percent. Your weapons are for when you need them. And he went out that game. He did a really good job. He was really aggressive. He got Stephen Vogt another at bat.
Yes.
And that was
how'd that work
huge.
out?
That was huge. And I think, when he learns to, control his physicality, we're not linebackers out there. We're major league pitchers. And, having the ability to harness that energy into baseball moves, not linebacker moves, not that, I got to do something strong. I got to push the weight. No, you got to stay within yourself and make a pitch. And that was one of my message to the whole pitching staff. Like, you're all good for a reason because you have good stuff. You stay in the big leagues because you know how to execute pitches.
There you go. And Paul Blackburn stopped by. Was shivering yesterday. We were out here. It was so cold, but it was nice of him to stop by. Talking to him last year in the clubhouse at spring training, and obviously doing all the interviews, All-Star, all that. And then sitting down with him yesterday, he's a different person. We all talk about the physical aspects. We're talking spin rate and velocity. And, I'll tell you what, Paul Blackburn mentally to me is a different guy, more confident. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, I think, when you go out and you have the first half that he had last year and making the All-Star team, obviously you're a pretty good pitcher, making that All-Star team. And I think that just gave him a lot of confidence. That finger was hurting him a little bit before the All-Star game. So he had some issues going on before that he tried to battle and deal with. I'm sure that, when you got an issue and you got a chance to make the All-Star team, right, you're trying to fight your way through it and make sure you don't get put on the DL for a reason. And then after that All-Star game, it just kind of, really, hurt him, and we had to get him on the DL and get that thing looked at.
And he's ready to rock. And, good chance he could be the opening day starter. And if that is the case, that is just a great honor. There's no question about it. James Kaprielian, I'm not sure exactly where he is with his health until we really see him pitching against hitters in games. We know we've talked to Cap before. He wants to be the dude. He wants to be the guy. You want him to be that guy. What needs to happen for him to have that type of season where you really can trust he can take the ball every 5 days and live up to what he wants to be?
Well, I think you said it best about, let's see where Cap is on coming back from the injury. There's no harder worker in that clubhouse than James Kaprielian. I mean, there's no, bulldog type guy who wants the baseball, who wants to compete more than James Kaprielian. And I love that for him. He just got to go out there and not overthink. I think sometimes, not him in particular, but, when you want to be great, you're striving for more and more and more and more. Just start taking your strengths, understanding what you do well, execute those things that you do well, work on your weaknesses a little bit, but master those strengths. And when James masters his strengths, it's going to be really good.
And a guy that we had here earlier today, and I was like, wow, because you don't know until you meet guys. You can look at the body, you can look at height and weight and minor league numbers. Kyle Muller shows up, boy, confidence like you wouldn't believe. You're talking about a guy who thinks he's the dude. I mean, and he's been compared to Madison Bumgarner. You're also a tall lefty, a big lefty. He told us, and we're going to play this right after you, he told us, yeah, my time in the minor league's over. I'm done. I've done what I need to do. I'm ready to be in the big leagues every single day. And I'm like, damn, when you admit that's some confidence right there. But that's what I love to see. I want somebody who thinks they're the guy. Kyle Muller, tell me about the big lefty, because he's coming as advertised.
Well, if he pitches like he threw his bullpen today, he's not going back to the minor leagues. I mean, he was really good today in his bullpen. And that's what you love about guys. You want every guy to think they're the ace of the team.
Yes.
You want every guy when they take the mound, it's his show that day. And that's the confidence you have to have. Now you got to go out and back it up, right? But, just watching him throw his bullpen today, doing some little adjustments. This guy's big, strong, physical, athletic. The first phone call I made after we traded for him was Brian Bridges, the old scouting director of the Atlanta Braves. And he told me, he's one of the most athletic people that he's seen. And then I go watch the video, and now I'm seeing, high 90s fastball, a good arm, good breaker. It's just putting it all together. Just put it all together. Understand the big leagues. Understand that hitters are important too. Can you exploit this hitter's weakness with a strength? Do you have the ability to go hard in, soft away? Do you have the ability to go hard away, soft away? He has that ability. Now, what I've been telling the pitchers a lot is we got to focus. Everything matters in this game. Playing catch matters. Everything you have, every time you have a baseball in your hand, that throw matters. And the more you are a professional glove hitter, the better you're going to be.
Yeah. You're just not warming up. You're playing catch. You're hitting a target. It's like shooting a gun. You just never just shoot. You always shoot as a target. Folks, it's like every sport. It doesn't matter. If you're a quarterback and you're just throwing to wide receivers, you're throwing to the spots for the wide receivers. If you're a professional golfer on the range, you're always hitting at a target. Why would a pitcher who has a ball, whenever we have, if you're in hockey and you're shooting at the net, there's always different quadrants at the nets you're shooting at. Why would it be any different with baseball? You're always aiming what you're throwing or hitting.
I love velocity just like anybody else. I mean, high velocity pitchers who can execute pitches, that equals greatness. Low velocity pitchers who can't execute pitches, that equals minor league player, right? So if you have okay velocity, you got to be able to hit your targets. You got to be able to be that professional glove hitter. And so the elite guys are the professional glove hitters with the elite stuff. The good guys are the professional glove hitters with, pretty good major league stuff. The bad guys are the guys that can't hit the mitt with anything, and that's why they're back in the minor leagues trying to develop hitting the target or being that professional glove hitter.
In a season like last year, or even in a season like coming up this year, where you're going to have young players, I talked about this. People are going to hear Trevor May talk about it today, because I talked about him being a veteran on the staff. I talked about with Tony Kemp going to be with the hitters. Is that at some point, veteran guys and coaches, you're going to need to recognize that I got a young guy struggling here. And sometimes you got to put your arm around him. You got to give him a little love. Whether it was last year or what's going to come up, like when do you know that there are times you got to pull a guy aside because you don't know what's going on off the field? I mean, you got to be. You're just not spin rates and velocity, and I mean, you got to be like a psychologist. I mean, as a pitching coach, you're more than just hitting targets. There's a lot that goes into this. So when do you know I got a guy that's down? How do you step in and help this young kid?
I think, I like to think of like I'm a drop down in everybody's menu, and that each pitcher owns his own corporation, and I work within that corporation. So it's easier for me to adjust to players and the players to constantly adjust to me. So I want to be able to, be that psychologist, be the dad, be the uncle, play different roles throughout the course of the season. The communication and the collaboration with each player, understanding what makes them tick. And generally, you can see some mannerisms when they're not having a good day. And it's going up to them, and anything I can do to help, and just getting them to understand that we are there for them. Now, I also tell them I'm here to tell you the truth too. You got to understand, like, if I'm suggesting something, then something's probably going on. Look, if you're going out there and you're making your 30 to 32 starts and you got a 1.79, I'm probably sitting in the chair, drinking a Gatorade during the game, and like, I didn't know. Yeah, good pitch. Yeah, good pitch. So I believe that there's a lot of overcoaching.
You're a cheerleader.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of overcoaching in the game of baseball because, people want to say, oh, I helped this guy, I stamped this guy. And at the end of the day, it's listening and understanding and being a good listener, and sometimes, the younger coach, when I was younger, I was probably stubborn coach. I didn't want to listen as much. So now I want to intake as much information as I can, then get the data as much information as I can, and filter this to the player. And it's important because, like you said, once they go between the white lines, they got a battle. And then once they come off the white lines, there's still other battles, whether it's personal problems or what have you. So, just kind of understanding the mannerism. I know when they take the field, whether they're having a bad day. I know it's stretch whether they're having a bad day. It's just trying to understand and watching and observing your guys.
Yeah, you always think your teachers didn't know. You don't think your parents know. You don't think your bosses know. People know. I mean, I work with a guy. I know me as soon as I walk in the door, I know what kind of mood he's in, right? You know exactly. Happy Cody, not happy Cody.
Usually happy, but last couple of days has been not unhappy, but
I might send him to you.
bewildered.
After.
Bewildered.
You don't like the weather?
Well, I mean, we've been used to the Bay Area's been like this for months now, so this is like nothing new.
Supposedly it's snowing back in the Bay Area in some spots.
Welcome back.
Bullpen. You start looking around your bullpen. Lack of velocity has been a problem in the past. I'm not sure it's going to be a problem. I mean, just talk about you got a bunch of guys options now at the end of the game where you saw what Danny did for you, Jackson what he did for you, and now you throw in May. Sammy spin rate, as we're calling him now. By the way, Sam Moll has no idea about spin rate, and he didn't even know that we call him Sammy spin rate.
Really?
But he's got a great spin rate. So you've got a bunch of guys down there.
See, now that's funny because when we're throwing our bullpens, he talks to me about it.
Oh, so he does know about spin rate.
He knows his curveball or his slider's 3,200 at times. He knows what's going on.
Sammy's spin rate Dupe Days cast live today.
Yeah, he knows what he knows what that ball's doing.
So I think you gotta be pretty excited about your bullpen.
Yeah, and you forgot Domingo Acevedo, who put up some saves for us last year, right?
70 appearances.
Yeah, I mean he wanted to baseball every night, and when you can look down and you see some guys have had some save opportunities, and pitching in high leverage games, Jackson, Acevedo, Jimenez, and May, and Moll, and Sneed. Sneed had a great month at the end of the year, in my opinion, made big strides. You got guys who all have pitched in leverage situations. So now it's about, can you get these guys to the mound fresh to pitch in these leverage situations?
All right, we'll get you out of here on this. Let's just talk about the rule changes because life is changing in Major League Baseball, and it's speed people up, which I think you're going to be cool with. And then also it's the pickoff rule, which we think is going to really – you throw in the bigger bags, that's going to help. But really the pickoff rule and the lack of how many times you can throw over, I think stolen bases is going to go way up. So first let's talk about the pitch timer. How are you approaching that with your pitchers to make sure they're up to speed and they're not going to be lacking on that and they'll get the ball off on time?
Yeah, the pitch timer I like a lot. You get on the mound, keep the pace of the game moving, keep the fielders on their toes behind you. I think that's a great rule. Coming up from in professional baseball myself, it was always catch the ball close to the rubber, get on the rubber, get your sign, and let's go. Let's get the action moving. And when you get the action moving, everybody's alert and awake, I guess. So, I really do love the pitch clock. Not so much the disengagements.
All right.
But I'm all right with it because those are the rules. The only thing on that I'm scared of is, the pitchers getting tired per inning. When are they going to? You're going to have to make a trip to make a break. Give them a break all the time. I'm just worried about that.
I think
it's good for the game.
I think runners are going to so exploit the disengagement, as we're calling it. I would, and I wasn't the fastest guy in the world, but I'm just thinking, at first, what I'm going to do to you, especially right-handed. We know a lot of right-handed guys don't have good pickoff moves, right? It's a show me anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a huge lead. So in your peripheral vision, you're going to see me and I'm going back anyway. And when I go back, I got a bigger bag to go back to. I'm going to force you to throw one over. Now
you got a wider bag.
A wider bag. You're now going to be uncomfortable because now you've thrown it over once. And you guys already have the date on the guys that don't like to throw over. I mean, I just think there's going to be a lot of cat and mouse with the runners. And when I see that pitch timer and I know that you're holding it, and I'm seeing 16, 17, I get to 18, I'm gone.
Yeah, it's just about, and I'm all for keeping the pace of play. Don't get me wrong on the disengagements. I think the pace of play needs to pick up. I don't mind the disengagements other than I'm worried about the pitchers gaining some rest time. It's going to be a new experience to watch, what we have to accomplish. When do we throw over? How often are we throwing over? I think all the teams, are are talking to the AAA staffs to try to get better data and better information about what they did and what they would do this year, knowing they had that last year. So, talking to Fran Reardon and our bullpen coach, Mike McCarthy, was in AAA with the Padres last year, talking to him about it, some different strategies. It's going to be, the game is altering a little bit, but it's always fun for new challenges.
How much are you working on it right now with these guys?
Our guys, they're aware of the clock during their bullpens. They're aware of the clock during their batting practices. So, the coaches who stand behind them during the batting practices are giving them cues and warnings and trying to make some pitches within 15 seconds. We also, in the off season, our guys threw about 10 bullpens before they reported. So there was times where, we wanted our guys to throw, 15 pitches within the clock rules and try to get going and try to build that stamina that way.
In this kind of shape you're in, wait, could you give me about 22, 25 minutes a game on the floor?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Banging both ends?
No.
Rebounding?
No. I'm a point guard, so
You're a point forward?
I play from foul line to foul line.
He's LeBron James?
You could be Nikola Jokic from the Nuggets. He's a stretch 5.
Tony Kukoc.
All right.
Remember Tony?
Yeah,
Yes,
European player as well.
Yeah, he's a little taller, but
He's Chicago Bull. I think we remember him.
Yeah.
All right. You look great, by the way.
Well, I appreciate it. Just kind of staying off bad food, I guess, as long as I can.
Good luck, my friend.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys.
We'll see you back in March. We'll be back in March.
Sounds good.
Up next, Seth Brown's going to join us right here on A's Cast Live.
Oakland Athletics spring training is right around the corner, and you can be part of the excitement. Get your tickets now and plan ahead for a fun-filled trip to Mesa, Arizona this spring. Pack the sunscreen, bring your friends, pick up some ballpark classics, and watch your green and gold get ready for the regular season. Get your tickets today to see the Athletics take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Dodgers, and more. Tickets are on sale now at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
It's that time of the year. Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2023 season. Don't miss out on securing your tickets for some of the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Visit athletics.com/tickets to get yours now. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Is J.J. Bleday ready to play at the Coliseum? He explained his enthusiasm with Towney on A's Cast Live.
Get ready, because you're going to hear the drummers. Yeah, our crowd gets wild, especially when we start winning, and you're going to help get us back on track. Next thing you know, they'll be making posters of you, T-shirts of you. Our fans go nuts. Are you ready for You ready for more like of a college football atmosphere?
Chris, I've been born ready for this, man. I'm really pumped up for this opportunity. I think it's going to be great, and I'm going to go balls to the wall every day to give everything I got to help this franchise and put those fans in the stands, because, you guys have been making playoffs almost every 4 years, and that in itself, it's a success. That's hard to do. That's not easy, and that speaks to volume for the front office and doing their best to kind of put the best product on the field every night.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Chevron with Techron has unbeatable engine cleaning power, and it gives you unbeatable mileage for all kinds of unbeatable destinations, like time in the sun at the beach, or time in the sun riding roller coasters, or a day in the sun hiking mountains. Well, probably just one mountain would be enough for a day, but hiking a mountain is still an unbeatable choice for how to spend time. Download the Chevron app now to get unbeatable mileage at locations near you.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
If you're looking for the latest green and gold gear for the 2023 season, then look no further than athletics.com/shop for your officially licensed gear. That's athletics.com/shop.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
All righty, joining us here, A's outfielder Seth Brown. How are you, my friend?
Doing good. Good to be back.
Well, I got to think for you after the season that you had. I know you want to do an off season. You got the family and everything, but you had to be itching to get back after the year you had.
Absolutely. It's kind of one of those things where when you kind of put it all together and you feel it for the kind of the first time and on a consistent basis, and it's something you want to get back to and something you want to get kind of going at again, so you can continue to do it. And that's what I've been focusing on all off season.
You want to know how I know you're going to have a great year?
No.
It's been freezing cold every day. Literally yesterday, when players sat down in the morning, the tarp was flying off, the wind was blowing. We just had rain with Scott Emerson. You sit down, sun's out, it's warm. This just says you're going to have a great year.
Honestly, I thought
you brought the sun out.
I thought I brought the weather with me because there's 5 inches of snow at my house right now.
Is there really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had a winter storm blowing today, so I thought I brought it with me down here.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. Yeah, but you sit down and next thing you know, we got the sun going.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Just talking with you off the air, and it's something that we're going to get into a little bit later here, is how really athletic this team is. And with the new rules we talked about with Scott Emerson, you just start thinking about, the running A's. You got a lot of guys, including yourself. You can steal bags like everybody can steal bags. This team was really built on home runs and walks the past few years when we were super successful. But it's kind of like this year may be a little bit different with running.
Well, it's funny, with the rule changes, the game always evolves. And, the type of athletes we have in here, it's really impressive, watching some of these guys go about their business and the way they move around on the baseball field. It's pretty impressive. And so I think we're going to see a lot of that athleticism running around out there this year. And like you said, incorporating the run because of all these rule changes is going to be something that I think is going to take a little bit to get used to get a rhythm for it. But once that happens, I think it's going to be a pretty key element to kind of take hold of. And it's going to be exciting to watch.
Something great for your career last year was to show everybody, hey, look how versatile I am. I can play first base. I can do it legitly.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can play outfield. That's great for versatility, great for having your career being a really nice long career. But if you had your druthers, if you could say, hey, this is where I want to play, where would it be?
Yeah, that's hard for me to say because I always say I'll play anywhere. I'm comfortable everywhere.
But I'm coming to you. I'm David Forrest. I'm coming to you. I'm saying, where do you want to get most of your at-bats? I want you to show up, not think about, what glove you're using. Where do you want to play?
I've always, when I first came up, played the outfield. So I'd say I have more games out in the outfield. So I'd have to say, the outfield. And just because I've had more reps there, I've had more games there. So, if you're David Forrest asked me, I'd say, I like the outfield, but it's like I've always said, and I tell everybody this, to me, I look at a spot as a lineup card, anywhere that's going to get me in the lineup, I'll play anywhere. And so I've never really looked at it as, what's my favorite spot? What do I prefer? To me, it's always been, okay, my way of helping is hitting, and obviously I play defense really well. So I know I can play kind of everywhere. So I've always told myself and told everybody that asked, hey, when I didn't ask, like, where do you want to play? What do you like to do? I always say, I like to be in the lineup. And so wherever I can fit in to do that, that's where I'll play. So I try not to look at a single spot as being my favorite.
Last year you and I did a meet and greet. Was it with Kotze in the Irish pub?
I don't.
It was another player.
I think it was another player.
Nick Allen.
Yeah.
It was with Nick Allen. So it was a season ticket holder deal. We went down before the game, and it's great when we do that because you get to connect with the season ticket holders, such loyal A's fans. It's a lot of fun. And as you and I were talking in front of the crowd, we just kind of started talking about, wow, it's so interesting how you have evolved from when you got here to where you were last year is really like the leader of the team. And then, Matt Chapman's gone and that group's gone and you've now become that guy.
Yeah.
Now let's talk even further because you went off after that in the second half.
Yeah.
And where you are now, you're even more that guy.
Yeah.
So what is that like for you?
Well, to me, I've been so fortunate to be around a lot of guys like Matt Chapman, like Mitch Moreland, Chris Bassett, all these guys. So when I first came up, we had a whole bunch of veterans on the team. So I was, and when I first came up, and even continue anytime I'm around guys that have been around the game and have been in that leadership role, I've always asked questions. Being around Stephen Vogt was an incredible help to me. He's an incredible human. So talking to him and just understanding what a leader in a major league clubhouse looks like, and also not necessarily what a leader does, but what does a veteran do? And so being around all these guys, I mean, I could go up and down the list of guys that were in and out of this clubhouse, but learning from those guys has helped me in a great way in that manner, because now I know like how to be a veteran, and I don't have a crazy amount of time, but in a role that in a team like we've had last year and this year, and being here, since I've been drafted, I understand the way the system works with Oakland, and I love Oakland. So to me, bringing guys in, it's almost kind of a natural thing for me to want to help the young guys and any guys that's going to be in our clubhouse this year, helping them understand how the A's do it, how the A's work. And for me, I don't like to be a vocal guy too much. I like to pull guys aside if they, if I see something that they can be doing different, and not just on the field, but how to be a professional in the clubhouse and how to start becoming that veteran mindset. I like to just keep going, keep my head down, and show my work, and how I work in the weight room, on the field, getting extra reps. I mean, it's just being around those guys has shown me how to do that. And so I'm so thankful to have been around a lot of those guys, because I don't think a lot of people get that opportunity to be a part of a clubhouse as tight knit and so full of veterans as it was. And so getting able to see those guys and interact with them and how they treated me, just kind of showed me how I need to be as I continue with my career.
Last year was, more of like a survival year. This year, some veterans have been brought in. We've talked about the arms. The bullpen's actually looking really good. I mean, this might be a year where, your leadership will be looked upon more than ever before, as now there's not going to be expectations outside the clubhouse, but I think there's going to be some expectations inside the clubhouse. So now, as there's more expectation to win, we'll need you even more as a leader.
Absolutely. But, the thing that I try to say is, the wins and losses will take care of themselves as long as everybody's doing their part, on the field, in the clubhouse, whatever. I mean, winning's not just shown out on the field. I mean, you have to have the winning mindset and the winning attitude in the clubhouse. All that stuff comes into play. And so for me, I try to really show up, anybody who asks, talk to young guys, this is what it's going to take, and this is going to translate to the field, because once the game starts, when you go out there, there's that competitive aspect to it. It's exciting. I mean, a lot of guys, it's like, hey, this is my first full year in the big leagues, or last year guys debuting, it's a lot, because, last year it was pretty rough for them, because they're coming in expected to, hey, this is where we're at. You got to go, 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 go. And, understanding that you got to be able to calm down and understand that it's not just the play on the field that translates. It's everything you do in the clubhouse, in your work. All that comes into play when it comes to winning. And so that's where I like to try and talk to guys about it, because when you're out here on the field, you're just showing all the work you've done and all the work you put in the off season, in the weight room, all your drills you do. So the winning aspect and the success comes from your hard work. It just doesn't happen when you step on the field. So I try to, instill that in guys, when I'm talking to them, when they ask me about it. And I think that's the most important thing you can do with a team, is understand that you're just out here playing a game, and there's that competitiveness to it and that want to win, but you got to trust all the work you're doing, off the field, and that it's translating.
It's just not a magic wand, folks, where you go, boo, and then it just may have worked for Ken Griffey Jr., doesn't work for everybody else. Let's end on this. And I know you don't like to brag about yourself, but your year was really the light went on for you. It came together. When this offseason, did you think, wow, what you can build on? Because I think what you're now figuring out, the power, the consistency of playing every single day, no shifting against you anymore. Have you just kind of thought about what this year could be for you personally, more than just team?
I mean, obviously, when you're sitting there and you're going over your season, and you step off the field and you get into your off season, you kind of go back over the season a little bit. I mean, at least I do, and just kind of try and get your thoughts in order of what you thought about it, and, what worked for you, what didn't work for you. And I think for me, the biggest thing was understanding that, I don't have to go hit 110-mile-an-hour line drive every single time. being consistent is understanding that when you go to your work every day, when you step in the box, you have to be consistent with your mindset, consistent with your approach. And I think that's what I learned a lot last year is when you make an approach and you really stick to it and see it through, the results are going to be there. You just have to trust it, and you can't force anything in this game. I think the beginning of the year last year, I wanted to play so bad and I wanted to play well so bad, that you just add all this outside pressure on yourself that is not really there. But when you let go of that and just understand that, hey, you've been playing this game since you were a little kid, the level's different. You're facing the best pitching in the world, but at the end of the day, this is a game you play pretty well. And if you just allow yourself to enjoy it and allow yourself to let your hard work that you've put in just happen, good things are going to happen. And I think that's what happened for me last year is I finally was able to let go of that longing to play so well and that longing to go 4 for 4 every single game. And just understand that this is a game of failure, and we've been taught that ever since you're a little kid, hey, it's a game of failure, but you really don't know what it means to fail unless you do it in front of thousands of fans. And, they all cheer when you fail. It's a different feel. So when you let go of that and that urge to prove everybody wrong, all those thoughts go through your head. So when I was able just to say, hey, this is a game, I'm going to enjoy it. I've worked so hard to get here and now I'm here. Let's enjoy it. Let's work hard, but let's have some fun doing it. And that just it was like a weight off my chest. And I just started to play a game that I've been playing forever.
What he just explained to you folks is the mental side of baseball. All these guys have strength. All these guys have speed. Everybody at every level has that. It's the mental side that keeps you at the big league level for a long time.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it. Hey, I'm excited for you. Congratulations on everything.
Thank
and
you
I
so
know
much.
you're a big part of this clubhouse and leadership to turn this franchise around and get us where we need to be. But most importantly, thank you for coming out, bringing the sunshine. Now I know things are going to be good.
I really appreciate it. And it's great to be back. It's great to see you guys. And it's going to be a fun year, and I'm excited.
Coming up next, the great Brody Brazil will join us from NBC Sports California right here on A's Cast Live.
Unbeatable mileage from Chevron with Techron unlocks all kinds of unbeatable trips. Like to family dinner the next town over. Or to a family wedding the next town over. Or even to a family reunion over the river and through the woods at Grandma's house. Any drive is worth it to see Grandma. Especially when you can stop along the way for unbeatable cleaning power from Chevron with Techron. Your engine will be thanking you for making the trip. Download the Chevron app now and find unbeatable mileage near you.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritcha going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
It's that time of the year. Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2023 season. Don't miss out on securing your tickets for some of the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Visit athletics.com/tickets to get yours now. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Why could the banning of the shift have the biggest impact on the 2023 season? Eno Saris of The Athletic explained on A's Cast Live.
I've tried to look at that, and I think it might be the shift one. It's funny because if any one player may not be affected that much, but the game as a whole, I have one analyst telling me may add, a run per game on each side.
Well, I'm hoping it's stolen bases, and I was listening to Dave Roberts, and he was talking about until players get incentivized, until they start getting more money to steal.
I do think that they do get paid a little bit for steals. Look at Aaron Judge. all of a sudden stole 16 in his walk year. Dansby Swanson stole the most he'd ever stolen in his walk year. They do it in their walk years a little bit, but they don't want to get injured in between.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Barrie locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, if everybody remembers, back in January, we were here for fantasy camp. And as we were leaving fantasy camp, there was a big question. How's Brody Brazil? Is he going to be okay? Is he going to make it? And there were some A's fans with some real concern. And then when we started spring training and we saw Brody Brazil, we made sure we informed everybody that he made it and he's okay. He survived. Not only did he survive, Brody Brazil turns out to be one of the comeback players of the year. The ESPYs, he's got an early invite to Las Vegas to the ESPYs for comeback player of the year. Blows out his hammy. First AB. Can people see that?
No, this isn't good for the live stream, but there's a photo they actually caught of the moment.
Blows out his hammy in the first.
There
Yeah,
you go.
see if you can hold that
Commander.
up. First at bat. And you think he's done. You think that it's all over. But the warrior that he is, the great San Jose State Spartan, Brody Brazil, rallies back and helps rally his team, a la Kirk Gibson. Hate to bring that up, Ace fan.
Well,
but no lower half, all upper body, helps lead his team into the championship game. You fall short, but the fact that you even were able to get your team there, I think it's one of the great moments in A's history.
I hit 600 after the injury, Townie.
The data doesn't lie.
It was so embarrassing because day one, I saw Ramon at the facility. I saw Nick Allen. Hey, guys. You're going to play? Cool.
Yeah.
Day two, I'm in the training room on the table. Nick Allen walks by. He does a double take. He's like, already? And he's watching me get, like, deep massaged. And
your hammy was bad.
Yeah, it was.
You couldn't even we were
barely walk.
We're in the crow's nest over at Fitch. He couldn't even barely get up the steps.
Every 3 steps, I felt like was the sharp pain. 2 steps, fine. 3rd step, ow. Yeah, and you know what? To be honest, we're 5-6 weeks removed from that, I think, and it's still tight. Yeah, my son wants to race me home from school, and for the first 2 weeks, I was like, no chance. And then I started doing it, and I'm like, still hobbling. So. Apparently at 42, this is going to take a few extra weeks.
It takes time.
Months.
It takes time.
Yeah. So here we are.
Well, we didn't have to take you out back and shoot you.
I'll tell you what, it was like deja vu being at Fitch the other day. It's like returning to the scene of the crime,
It's kind of give you nightmares.
We had all these bad memories,
You wouldn't even go in the training room. No,
but that's the thing. That's the thing about I'm going to promote fantasy camp.
Yeah.
If I can go there and have that unfortunate injury and still have a blast, what does that tell you about the experience, right? You saw it. It was
special.
I'd never been there before. I'd never seen what it's all about. So we'll get a chance this year to explain it more. And when signups open up, I think in early March, we'll get to talk even more about it to help promote it. But it was awesome.
So we went over to Top Golf here in Gilbert, and everybody got to grab the mic and this is who I am. And this is, how many years, and it really shows you kind of how the fraternity around it, where people like, this is my 14th year.
Yeah.
And obviously COVID stopped some people's runs of every year, but
Right.
this is my 14th year. This is my 8th year. We were all the first timers.
I'd never seen it,
which was really cool to show how many people they've made lifelong friendships.
Yeah.
And with Shooty Babbitt, who's the mayor of it, you bring out the great Dave Stewart, Barry Zito, and Terry Steinbach. I mean, that was really such a cool thing. For me, is whenever you get around these guys that we watched. We were in high school when the A's were going to the World Series.
Yeah.
Or I was in high school. You weren't yet. But I was in high school when these guys were going. So, I mean, it's like it was really, really special. To this team, so much negativity, and I understand it. And I'm not going to tell the national people that they're wrong. This team is going to be better than last year.
Yeah.
I don't know how much better, but
Right.
I think more importantly for us as fans and people who cover it, the eye test is going to be far better.
First off, they've only lost 100 games in Oakland twice.
Mhm.
Once was in 79, and the other time was last year. So it's a rarity that the team ever reaches that unfortunate plateau. But remember last year at this time, and I was only down here for a brief period because we didn't even know spring training was going to start at all or whenever. But then all the trades and all the transition. And last year kind of began with a bucket of cold water over everybody's head. And I think that set a tone for the rest of the season. And Kotz did a great job of keeping it together, not letting it. I mean, look, they did lose 102, but I still don't feel like they unraveled inside the clubhouse. And you had Vogt in there and you had Pinder in there. So you knew it wasn't going to stretch too far. But I just think this next season of a Sears and a Waldachuk and a Nick Allen and a Shea Langoliers, and I certainly hope Pache can show us something extra. And not to mention all the acquisitions. I want to see Esteury Ruiz steal 40 bags, and I don't think that that's impossible if he obviously gets on base and gets the opportunity. So to your point, better, absolutely, instantly. How much better? I think that is the only question for us this season, and I'm interested to find out. Is it 5 games better? Is it 10 games better? Is it 15 games better? I don't know.
Yeah, the moniker of the swinging A's has got to turn to the running A's. The only guy that's not going to be running this year for the Athletics will be Brody Brazil. That hammy will probably not be good till about July.
No.
But yeah, when I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm not going to be shocked. We remember back when guys stole 80, 70, 60. I'm not going to be shocked if we start seeing that again, at least as long as these rules, the disengagement.
Right.
And once I start seeing, like, we can't. So the pitch timers are very easy to see for the runners and the infielders.
Right.
And you're going to have scouting reports of right-handed pitchers who don't like to throw over.
You're going to get big jumps, big leads.
You're going to have these jumps that are on the bags are bigger.
Yep.
I think, the running, you're going to have Brown, who we just had on, Aguilar. I don't know if Noda, Demis Garcia. There's going to maybe Ramon Laureano. There'll be like
Nick Allen, Laser.
But what I'm saying, there's going to be about 3-4 guys that can hit the ball at the ballpark. Everybody else, get your track shoes. We're running.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to, will baseball trend that way? And will the A's actually run? Right. I mean, was it last year or 2 years ago? They jumped out of the gate. Ramon had like 15 steals in the first 20 games or 20-some games, and then didn't really do much after that. Kind of shut it down a little bit. That must have been 2 years ago when Bo Mel was skipper, I think. But bottom line is, I think they have the legs to actually be a running team again. I don't know if they'll actually do it. And I don't think the shift is going to play into it. I think you're right. I think the pitch clock is going to play into it more than the lack of the ability to fully shift.
Just think of you at fantasy camp.
Don't think about that.
Run. If you got if you have a right-handed pitcher, and I already know he's got a terrible pickoff move, and I already know he doesn't like to pick off because we know that in this game.
It's like every pitcher's John Lester.
Yes, exactly. A right-handed John Lester. If I'm there and he's holding the ball, and the pitch timer gets to 16, 17, I'm gone.
Right.
I know he's going home.
Right.
I'm gone. I'm
Right.
going to have such a lead. There's no way you're getting
He doesn't have as many deceptions and look over, and you're right. You can only have, 2 engagements? Is that right?
But for third one,
if you don't pick him off,
it's a balk. How about at second base? How big of a lead can he get at second base? You probably walk to third.
Yeah.
I hope I hope that's part of baseball this season. You know, and Steve, I talked to Stephen Vogt 2 weeks ago, and he's pretty convinced like baseball is going to look different. The timing of it, the cadence of it, you know, the inability to shift, it's going to create a lot of different dimensions of players that are now more valuable because their range matters more. Like, you know, a second baseman who's got range is like, whoa, well, that's important because now, you know, we use, or even a shortstop, we used to shift you on the right side of the infield, but now this player actually needs to cover most of the left or most of the right side of the infield. You
Can't
know?
hide you.
Nope. And I'll tell you what, the biggest one with the shift, I hated seeing a left-hander rip one into short right field. And there's the second baseman fielding it 30, 40 feet on the grass and then making that like long throw from short right. I hated that. And I even hated that when it worked for the A's. I felt dirty.
Marcus Semien in right field,
Right.
and I had to score in my book 6-3. He's playing right field. I'm scoring 6-3.
I'm glad you mentioned it.
It's
So
horrible.
I at a point I was like, I'm scoring it to the part of the ball field that was hit. If I have to talk about it on TV later, oh yeah, ball hit to the shorts. Never mind. He hit it to the right side.
Good
of the
for
infield.
you.
I score it 4-3.
It was wrong. I just felt dirty.
Well, how about when
and-
Marcus was playing, and back in the day, if it was Jed at second, Marcus was on the right side, was on Jed's left.
He was Rover.
Right. He was on the opposite side of the second baseman, you know? So
I hate it. Yeah, it's ugly. I'm glad. And you know what? For all these years when all of us were growing up, they said hit the ball back up the middle. That's
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
approach was, back up the middle. And now
Yeah.
all of a sudden that line drive or rip back up the middle is an out. I
Yeah.
can't wait for that line drive to be a hit again. I think it'll be good for baseball. From your guys' standpoint, one of the things that you're down here doing that are great, that always come on after A's postgame live, and that we get to see a lot on NBC Sports California, is all A's. You guys are down here doing you got a couple episodes done.
had a great long chat with Tony Kemp. A really good one with Trevor May. Didn't know him at all obviously before this. It's funny, he's into media production stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We geeked out over so much. And then I literally just finished with Shea Langoliers. And then tomorrow we're going to do a little quick thing with Fuji and also with Nick Allen. So I'm looking.
With us here on A's Cast Live from Ho-Ho-Camp Park. I've been
Specific
waiting
reasons
for
and their personalities.
Kyle Muller's here with us here.
They'll be a part of this team.
Kyle
for the
Muller's here with
duration
us
of the
here
season.
on A's
And,
Cast
none
Live
of them
from
disappointed. All
Kyle
great
Muller's
people.
here.
I think we already knew that with a few of them, but it's great to chat with them.
The big shock for me was I was sitting here doing an interview today. Next thing I turn around and there's Dave Stewart right there messing with me in his suit. I'm like, Stu, the A's Hall of Famer was
We
there.
had-
all the bigwigs.
Well,
Like Kuiper was here.
yeah.
Dallas.
So they made me tape a line today where they said something about, and that baby's gone. And I look over and Glenn's standing there looking at me. I'm like, don't make me say this in front of him. You know, I think this was the first media day that Kipe said he'd ever been to. You know, we do this with NBC every year. We take all the headshots and all the hero shots, what they call it, with the dramatic movie. I mean, they literally had a cinema camera this morning out here. Like it's a movie trailer style production. But it's a big deal to get that done. But I'm glad to have, and Dallas was here. Everybody was here. Because you mentioned Stu, though. Stu told me this, and I was like, you're absolutely right. He's been here, obviously, working with the team and some of the pitchers. He goes, we have an NBA-style pitching staff. I'm like, what do you mean? And he did this, like his hand this high. And I'm realizing it today in the clubhouse, maybe with the exception of JP Sears, is every A's pitcher like 6'3", 6'4"?
Oh,
Sam Moll, maybe?
Muller
dude.
Muller comes over. He's a big dude.
My goodness.
I mean, even like Adam Aller's
There's going to
a
be
big
a lot
dude.
of downhill trajectory.
Yeah, there's a lot of above 6'3". I mean, what's I'll tell you what Caprillion is.
I'm going to guess Cap he's listed as 6'3". He might be 6. Well, he's probably close to that.
Caprillion is listed at 6'3". Domingo Acevedo
he's
is
a big boy.
6'7". Fuji is 6'6".
Now, it says Paul Blackburn is 6'1". I'm not buying that. But
Zach Jackson is 6'4".
Sorry. Yeah.
Trevor May 6'4".
Right.
Chad Smith 6'4". Waldachek 6'3".
Right.
Tarnock, who we haven't met yet, he's 6'4".
See what I'm saying?
Chad Smith coming over from the Rockies is 6'4". Hey, JP Sears at 5'11" is our point guard.
Wait, JP and I are eye to eye, and I am not 5'11".
I was going to say he's not 5'11".
He's our John Stockton. Come on, let's see who else we got.
Hogan Harris is 6'3".
Muller's 6'7".
Yeah, see?
Yeah, we got a big staff.
Hey, today when they had me doing the photo shoot next to Nick Allen, and you know, I appreciate standing next to him
Yes.
with TK, because when we do like the back-to-back thing,
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
yep, I don't have to be on my tippy toes. So it's great. It's great to be down here. I got to say, I know you guys have talked about this. I know you did a segment in the rain like 30 minutes ago, but this is bizarre. This is the first. I'm wearing a jacket right now. The first spring training I've been down here all week and have yet to have been hot yet. So,
Yeah, Seth Brown sat down, the sun came out, and then it's now gone again. That was like a brief 5 minutes of nice warm.
This is what I bring to you.
Well, I will say this. One of the times last season I had a lot of fun because if you don't know, I always fill in for Brody on A's pre and post game live when he's got Sharks or days off, family commitments. The one time when Dallas had his child and he had to get down south quick, and I actually was the analyst for you.
A's
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
From Ho-Oh
Well, I
Cam
don't see
Stadium.
it as,
Great to see
you
you.
see it as two guys.
Tony
Kemp,
Kemp, so you got to be an ex-player.
I felt like it was more just like this, conversational. And I know, what's cool is, this too, from being in this position, you want to speak intelligently to your subjects and with them, and you want to like go to the deep areas that they want to talk about. But it's weird. I don't want to be the expert. I want to know your language. I want to know the depths of what you do. Like we were just talking to Shay about deep stuff into defensive catching and all that stuff. So I want to be able to go there with him, but I don't want to come across on TV like, I know just as much as you. I certainly don't. I've been around this stuff long enough to absorb it and kind of spit it back out. But so I always appreciate about you, is that we can go there, and feel like we're having that intelligent conversation. And you went much farther than I did playing baseball, but none of us obviously were out here, Well, I was in fantasy camp.
I mean, you were.
I digress.
You hit 600 for God's sakes.
Do you want to
comeback player of the year, Brody Brazil?
Can that camera watch me run a full 90?
And by the way,
no, do not do.
Dave Stewart, Shooty Babbitt, you're going to eat some crow once the season starts, because we were here for when Brody got hurt. They were mad dogging him. They were talking about how they were going to kill him on TV.
Yeah.
And the fact that you came
back.
You got to be your partners. You got to destroy these guys.
I know this is once again bad audio production, because I'm gonna show you a video.
Remember, real quick, Shooty called him Brody Blowout Brazil.
Yeah, Brody Blowout.
Cody, come on.
It was pretty funny at the time, but it didn't age well as you made your comeback.
If I show you this, can you describe this to your viewers, what you're seeing, or your listeners, what you're seeing right there?
That's just getting the head through the zone, baby.
That's me, all front foot.
Yeah,
like unloaded off.
No lower body,
fast as possible.
Hey, just win, baby. You got to do what you got to do.
Look at that. I drove in a run, so I gave it the old.
If you airdrop that to me, I could play the video on the stream.
Did you
get out of here?
Do you have a pinch runner because you couldn't run
every single time?
That's fabulous. So you had like a Herb Washington.
When I came back, I was like, I don't think I can play. They're like, you want to just hit? I'm like, yes, I do want to just hit. And then at the end, there we go. I'm going to airdrop it to Cody. At the end, Steiny goes, I think you can. Well, we had another guy get hurt. I think you can play first base. I was like,
Chelsea, come here.
Absolutely.
I want A's fans. I want you to stand here. I want A's fans to see the brains.
She's gonna hate this, but we should make it happen.
Come here. I want you to come here. I want you to just walk around.
Yeah.
I won't put you on
How about
air.
this? Just do a lap.
I just want people to see the brains when they watch A's pre and post game live. Do you want to see the brains behind the operation? This is the person that makes the show so good. It's not the host.
Nope.
It's not the analyst.
Yep.
She is the reason why A's pre and post game live is such a fantastic show. Whether the A's are winning or losing, it's a very entertaining show. Do you have it?
I'm getting it. Give me a second.
Get out of here.
I just got it.
I can't believe this technology that I just airdropped Cody something.
Yeah, that's what we get.
He's going to flip it and put it on the stream.
You know,
well, hold, it's going right now. You can't see it, but it's going right now.
That baby is a line drive to left.
There's Brody. You guys are on the left.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That is true, a designated hitter. You hit and you just walk off, let someone else run for you.
Can I tell you what I'm more critical of than my swing and being injured? I think I got an extra 15 to lose all of a sudden. That jersey, I don't think it used to fit me that tight.
I think you're all right. It's not TV. It's hockey season. You're supposed to gain a little. You're supposed to grow the beard, gain a little weight. It's hockey time.
Voos gave me that Kelly green that I was wearing in spring training 2020. So pre-pandemic, beers every other night or every night.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit the same way.
Well, we just know this. I mean, you're going to have to get into baseball shape a lot faster because I don't think you're going to have too much stamina come.
Dan. Wow, shots fired.
Playoff time.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Cody always does this. So at the end,
we're getting close to the deadline.
We're getting close. I feel like we're getting close to the end of this. Let's take 2 more miles. Now the answer, buddy.
We talked about this off the air.
You know, they're holding them out of tonight's game again with
Road man.
Undisclosed.
Double wrap is what we call it.
Upper, lower body.
No, the trade deadline is March 3rd, and there are some suitors out there that are you know what they do? That player just so that they don't actually.
So safe to say they're not going to be calling me for opening day. You will be there because it won't be.
Oh no, no. There will not be
there.
There will be a Patrick Marlowe jersey retirement on Saturday at the.
You're going to be available in
so
April, May, and June.
Oh, game one. Can I be honest? I've gone from a Sharks team that's not been in the playoffs 3 years in a row to losing 102 games last year. I've had people at work check in on me, like, "How you doing?
You all right?"
Fine. No, but I mean, like, come on, that's a lot of losing, you know? I'm like, kind of getting used to it, unfortunately. But you know what? It trended so well for so long, and the Sharks had been good, and the A's, 12, 13, 14, really 17, really 18, 19, 20, most of 21. So we've had a lot of good times. I don't want to discredit that. And I don't know about you, but I see the upward trajectory here. I don't know if we're going to like rocket up the same way we did 17 into 18 and win 97 games. But I see things moving in the right ways, and just even being here, you can tell it's different.
Well, do we have Kyle Muller ready to go? This is the guy that I'm really excited about. Thank you very much for stopping by. Can't wait to see all of these A's shows that you're putting together, and we'll see you back in the Bay Area.
See you, boys. Appreciate this.
Earlier today here, Ho Cam, we taped our interview with the big left-hander, Kyle Muller. This guy, he seems like the real deal, and he's ready to be the guy. With us here on A's Cast Live from Hohokam Park. I've been waiting for this interview, and you have no idea why, but welcome to A's Cast and welcome to the Oakland Athletics.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
You did something last year, like when you got traded over here and we were looking you up, you did something that we couldn't believe. It's like finding Bigfoot. You had a complete game.
Okay, so we were talking about that. I don't know if it might have been a 7-inning complete game.
It says a CG.
Well, if that's the case, then yeah, I have a complete game.
Run with it, baby.
I am. I will.
We didn't even have a complete game last year, the A's.
Really?
Seriously. It's unreal.
No, it's with the whole new, way they're managing games, and starters are only really going 5 innings, and then you just give it to the bullpen. It's a rare occurrence, for sure, but it's always super cool when you see the starter go the whole way.
So when you get traded over here, we always talk about how Oakland is the land of opportunity. Yeah. You're not blocked. Nobody's blocked here. You're going to get a chance to play in the big leagues. So how excited were you when you got traded over knowing that?
I was ecstatic. I mean, I really was. Obviously my time in Atlanta, there was a lot of great moments, a lot of, tough ones. There's a lot of good arms over there. And we had a situation where we had 5 guys in the AAA rotation that were on the 40-man. So if they needed a spot start, it was like whoever's day it was is going up. So
that's a luxury right there.
Yeah. No, like there was one series that we went and 3 guys from AAA, we won the whole series against Miami. But, that's all I've wanted is just an opportunity to, go out there every 5 days, pitch in the major leagues and see where I'm at. Because right now, every time I've gone to the major leagues, it felt like a tryout. I go up for a day, pitch, and then I get sent home on a flight the next morning. So there's no routine, there's no comfort. Like that's all I'm, waiting on and excited to have that opportunity here.
Well, I think about comparisons right now. In the Bay Area, Madison Bumgarner had an outstanding career with the San Francisco Giants. So we lived it. We got to see it from across the Bay. That's a pretty good guy to be compared to. Yeah. Obviously, when you're big and you're left-handed, people are going to talk about that. But just talk about your game and what you're working on and what A's fans can expect.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely I know one thing that stood out about him in his career, because watching him, I was a big fan, was just his overall competitiveness. He was, whether he had his best stuff or his worst stuff, he was always in there trying to help his team win. And I'd say I'm pretty similar in that regard, very competitive on the mound. I've had a lot of time and a lot of innings in the minor leagues, so I know, what I do well as a pitcher. I'm 4 pitches, fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. I feel comfortable throwing them, at any time. But yeah, just being competitive, staying in the game, and I like to bring a lot of energy as well. So I like I said, I'm super excited. I hope the A's fans are too.
Well, they are super excited because they know that you're going to be a guy that's going to be doing some great things with the Oakland Athletics. In the sense that I get from you, it's kind of the same thing. I don't know how much you've talked with Tyler Soderstrom, our first-round pick from a couple of years ago, but there just gets a point where you go, I'm ready.
Yeah.
You're done with the minor leagues. I can tell just listening to you, like, I've done this, spot starts. Your time is now.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. And to have that chance to to break with the team, like I still have to prove myself here. Like what I've done in AAA doesn't mean that I'm going to have success in the major leagues. So I have, like this camp is still very important. I'm not going into this whole thing thinking that I've got a rotation spot locked, because there's a lot of good arms in there, and I still need to prove myself. They haven't seen me. I haven't, gotten to be around them. So, go into it with a competitive mindset, and the mentality that, everything's earned, nothing's given. So, but yeah, no, it's great. I am over the minor leagues though.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, I didn't want to be up here riding the planes and staying in the great hotels.
Yeah.
And something that I can tell also, and we talk about this all the time on the show, the one thing I see with pitchers is that, some guys go out to survive and other guys go out to win.
Right.
There is a difference. I can already tell with you. There's a reason you're going out there. You're not going out there just to survive. 100%. It's win day when you get out there.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're taking the mound with any other mentality, then, you probably should do a little self-reflecting. I mean, it's tough sometimes in the minor leagues because, a lot of it is, they say play for the name on the back at that point. But until you get to the major leagues, there's really not a whole lot of team atmosphere, like we're all pulling from the same, end of the rope. But, just being here early in camp, we've really preached that. And there's a lot of young guys, a lot of people with not a whole lot of experience. And so everyone's kind of in the same boat. And it's really exciting. It's really exciting. I haven't had this like team feeling of everybody like, wanting to prove, a lot of people wrong, because there's been a lot of reports.
Boom.
Yeah. No,
I've been talking about, like, are people going to have – you got all these people saying this team's going to stink. You got no chance. At what point do you have a chip on your shoulder? Because they're not talking about me. They're not talking about Kotze. Yeah. They're not talking about – they're talking about you guys.
It's funny. It really is, because, I haven't even pitched an inning in an Oakland A's uniform, and just hearing those things get me fired up.
Nice.
It's
I like that.
So I'm ready to be a part of this thing, and I know a lot of guys on the team too already, and I think we're all kind of in the same mentality of we're ready to, mess up a lot of people's seasons and then see how successful we can be.
I like it. These are going to be short and sweet, but
Perfect.
I can't wait to talk to you back in Oakland, more long form. We do the show right on the field before games, so I'm hoping you're going to be a big A's Cast Live fan favorite.
Yeah, me too. I hope so.
It's great meeting you.
Nice
Good
to
luck
meet
to
you
you.
as well.
Stay healthy.
Thank you very much.
What time is it?
2:50. No, 3:50. Our computers haven't synced to the Arizona time.
So 3:50 Arizona time, 2:50 West Coast Pacific Standard Time.
That is correct.
I want it to be known. What's the date today?
February 23rd.
February 23rd at 2:50 Pacific Standard Time. Kyle Muller just became my favorite player. That guy, that's the guy you go, I want to play with. Did you just hear everything he had to say? He doesn't like the people who are saying that they stink. He takes it personally. He's got a chip on his shoulder. You know what great players have? They've got chips on their shoulders. Okay? Great players in our game all have a chip on their shoulder. Never have run into a great player who didn't. You think about Hall of Fame players, oh my God, these guys got the biggest chips. If you're going to be good in a game that's played every single day, and to be honest with you, in every single sport, you're not going to go to the NFL, the NBA, or anywhere they don't think that a great player doesn't have a major chip on his shoulder and doesn't have big-time bravado and wants to be the guy. Kyle Muller just told you, I want to be the guy. I can't remember from all the time I've been doing this, the last guy who has as little of time in the big leagues as Kyle Muller does that goes, I'm done with minor leagues. I should be here, and I should be here every 5 days. And then his pitching coach, Scott Emerson, early on the show said, oh, yeah, this guy's not going to be in the minor leagues. I mean, you want to talk about some brass ones. That's what we've been missing. That attitude that you believe you haven't heard Sammy Spin Ray. What we were missing in 2012, 2013, 2014, when you start looking at the playoff years, 18, 19, 20, I've told you the story. that I really couldn't say when Bob Melvin, maybe, I don't know. Have I told the story about Verlander and Melvin?
No, but I do want to hear it because Bob has great stories.
Oh, my God. I've never told this story.
You got time.
Years ago, this is after the great battles with the Tigers in 12 and 13. Verlander gets traded to the Astros. And if you know anything about the it would have been Houston. Was it Houston? They were in Houston.
Yeah, because if he got traded to Houston, it would have been.
No. This is Bob. This interaction. It wouldn't have been because the visiting locker room would not. Yeah, so it would have been in Houston. So Bob Melvin and Justin Verlander come to the. I've never been with us here on A's Cast Live from the field, Kemp They're Park. Walking down the tunnel together. Obviously, Bob and Verlander have known each other for years. And Verlander says to Melvin's with us here on A's Cast Live from the field, Kemp Park. Says, haven't seen you since, hey, you know what? Last time I want to say this to you. But in 2012 and 2013, you guys had great teams. The problem is you never had a guy to face me.
It's the truth.
I mean, Sonny Gray. No, Sonny wasn't ready for it. Back on the program, it's great to have him. Years later. Well, he is back on. You think how good 2012 and 2013 were. Those were terrific teams for the A's that could not advance. And who knows, if those teams would have advanced and the A's would have had a major run where they go to the ALCS, maybe to the World Series, would our ballpark situation be different? It's amazing how playoff runs, long runs, what they do for franchises and cities to get business done, to get new stadiums built. It's amazing how that works. Success leads to so many different things. And Verlander said to Melvin, and Melvin never told anybody this in the media. Well, he told me. And I thought I told this story. But
I don't remember hearing this one.
But Verlander said it to Bob. They're walking out, and he goes, hey, man, I just always want to tell you, man, your guys' teams were of course, Verlander was the one that beat us in Game 5, and both 12 and 13. They were great series. Tigers were terrific. A's were terrific. But here's Verlander, one of the best pitchers, best pitcher of his generation, wouldn't you say? I'm taking him over Kershaw.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is for sure. I mean, the only guys that are even close would be, Kershaw, Scherzer, Greinke, those are the guys. That's about it.
It's kind of tough to take him over Kershaw. Kershaw's pretty tough. He's one of the best of his generation, right?
No, I'll take Verlander. He's won more games.
Kershaw's going to the Hall of Fame, too.
He is, yes. Well, do we kid? This is what, but is the CC part of that group, too?
Yeah, I guess you would say.
But I'd still take Verlander. I'm just thinking of guys over the last 15, 20 years.
Good.
Yeah.
250-something wins.
He pitched on 3 days rest for the second half of the season with Milwaukee.
Verlander is one of the damn best, right? So but to have Justin Verlander say to Bob Melvin to go out of his way, he could have walked down the hall. Bob, Justin, how are you? Blah, 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 and walked down. But Justin wanted to pay tribute to the team saying, hey, I always want to say this. Those teams were fantastic. You just didn't have a guy to face me. You didn't have and what did Grady Fuson say earlier about those teams? We never had the pitching match the hitting. We've never had both fit together. in that time since basically 2012 to now and all these different playoff years. We've never had it fit. But had to have Verlander say that to Bob, I'll never forget that. And Verlander was right. That because it's funny. There's a lot of new people around here that don't know much about 12 and 13. Of course, I was around. Those teams were special with tremendous players and guys, and those teams were gutty. They just ran into a great Tiger team and Justin Verlander. If the A's would have had a pitcher to match Verlander in Game 5, oh my God, it would have been epic. All right, what do we got next? But Kyle Muller could be that guy. He wants to be that guy. You start thinking of Waldichuk, you start thinking of Mulder, you start thinking of Fuji, you start thinking of Blackburn. I can give you a rotation. Bullpen, we've had the bullpen guys. We got more of them coming up with Trevor May. But you think Danny Jimenez. I keep missing Jackson and Jimenez. Zach Jackson, Danny Jimenez.
Our good friend now, Sam
Moll. Acevedo gave you 70 appearances last year. I can give you a starting staff. I mean, how do you not get a little bit excited? I can't help it. I see when you hear about the confidence of Kyle Muller, it gets you excited. I mean, when I see guys from the marketing department walking around, it gets me excited. I mean, these guys,
that's Ace Productions as well.
I mean, I wear the Ace Production shirts. No one reps Ace Productions more than I do. I want that to be said. I rep it here. I rep it on NBC. Coming up next, what do we got?
Tony Kemp.
Tony Kemp stopped by A's Cast Live earlier today. He was fantastic. You'll get it next right here on A's Cast Live.
Chevron with Techron has unbeatable engine cleaning power, and it gives you unbeatable mileage for all kinds of unbeatable destinations, like time in the sun at the beach, or time in the sun riding roller coasters, or a day in the sun hiking mountains. Well, probably just one mountain would be enough for a day, but hiking a mountain is still an unbeatable choice for how to spend time. Download the Chevron app now to get unbeatable mileage at locations near you.
It's that time of the year. Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2023 season. Secure your tickets for some of the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. From opening weekend against the Angels to the 50th reunion of the 1973 World Series team, to unique giveaways like Pit Viper glasses. There is so much happening at the ballpark this season. Don't miss out on other homestands as we take on the Giants, Padres, Yankees, Cubs, and Braves. Visit athletics.com/tickets to get yours now. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Oakland Athletics spring training is right around the corner, and you can be part of the excitement. Get your tickets now and plan ahead for a fun-filled trip to Mesa, Arizona this spring. Pack the sunscreen, bring your friends, pick up some ballpark classics, and watch your green and gold get ready for the regular season. Get your tickets today to see the Athletics take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Dodgers, and more. Tickets are on sale now at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
New A's outfielder J.J. Bleday stopped by A's Cast Live and discussed being traded to the green and gold.
Oh, it's huge. I found out when I was in Nashville. And yeah, there's a little bit of bitterness, right off the bat. But as you let it sink in, and like you said, man, plenty of opportunity. And I'm really looking forward to making Oakland, a good spot to get things going. And, I think it's going to be a good fit. A great fit.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
You know, when you have a lot of new faces, you got to have leadership. When you have some young faces, you have veteran guys to be there for them. I thought Scott Emerson was fabulous today talking about that. You know, that's why, you know, when you think about Scott Emerson, you talk about how, okay, he's a great pitching coach and all of that. But really, when you have somebody who understands the mental side of the game, that's why I say he's like part psychologist. He's got to, you know, like he said, when I show up to the ballpark and I see my guys, I know who's up, who's down. When I'm watching them stretch, when I'm watching them throw, I know who's got their, you know, their dauber down. I know who's not doing well. And you don't know, man. You don't know. There's something wrong at the field, away from the field, something going on with a guy's family. You don't know. We're human beings. I mean, I don't show up every day and life's perfect. It's just, you know, but we work through it and we do it. But, you know, but from a standpoint of performing, yeah, you need to have somebody who is there for you. And that's what a good coach is. What did Emerson say? I'm like, I can be a father figure. I can be an uncle figure. I can be a best friend. I can be, you know, and sometimes I got to give you tough love. I got to give you tough information. But yeah, you got to know your people. But that's the same thing for veteran players with like Seth Brown, who just sat here. It's like, you know, you've been here, you've done that. You know about the ups and downs. I mean, you're going to see some of these younger players, and all of a sudden this game starts to swallow you up. And it's the veteran players that need to go over there and help these guys out to not get swallowed up. That's kind of your role. Your role is obviously to compete and put up numbers and help the team win. But when you get in that clubhouse, you know, because there were older guys that helped Tony Kemp. There were older guys who helped Seth Brown. There were older guys who help anybody. Help these younger guys who don't get swallowed up in the negativity and the media and all the things that go with struggling. Because when you're struggling, everybody wants to point the finger at you. Now with social media, because everybody wants to be on social media, but problem with being on social media, when you're not going good, there's now a place where the fans can directly talk to you. They can go after you. Before, you couldn't do that. But now that I know that so-and-so has an Instagram account, or so-and-so's on TikTok, or they're on Twitter, and they're not going well, and the fans can give you the lip instead of just calling the post-game show and getting mad at me. Now there's a place that they can go after you, and it's on social media. So you need the veteran guys there to help you through all of that. You know, sometimes you need help with your finances. You need help with, you know, buying a place, or you need some advice. You need some advice with girlfriends or wives, or being a father. I mean, veteran players can help in so many different ways. So Tony Kemp with Seth Brown is one of those guys for this franchise, no doubt about it. And I think Tony Kemp at some point will be in broadcasting. I could see him whether he wants to be an analyst in the booth or whether he wants to be a studio guy. I think the world will be his oyster once he's done playing, but obviously he's not done playing. Here's Tony Kemp earlier with us at Ho-Ho-Cam Park. Here, A's Cast live from Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Great to see you. How was the offseason, the family, and how you feeling?
It's unbelievable. I think this offseason went by the quickest I've ever been a part of, just having a kid. You know, that was unbelievable. We went to Malaysia. It was awesome, and we were there for, I think, a little under 2 weeks, and flying with an 11-month-old for it was a journey, man, but we had a good time. We flew from Nashville to DC, which was 2 hours, and then DC to Tokyo, which was 15 hours, and then Tokyo to Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital, and then we were in Malaysia, so that was another 7-8 hours. So it was a journey, and then back. But she did great. My daughter was unbelievable. We actually had some people say, you know, obviously you get on this huge long flight, and then you sit down. The row in front of you is a little toddler, a little baby, and then you're like, oh gosh, here we go. But
yeah,
you know, we had people on both legs say that she was great, so she did a good job.
Yeah, it's a whole when you're a young family. I have twins. They're now
twins.
They're now 17, so they're in high school. But yeah, traveling it's a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
And so you just think about your off seasons. Like back when I used to play a ton of golf, then you have kids, and now it's no golf.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you're at Vanderbilt, leave Vanderbilt, you become a pro, you have your off seasons, it's all about you and your career, and then now it's a whole different ballgame.
And then it kind of, your hobbies kind of get pushed to the wayside a little bit. So it's still, people ask me about what's it like having a kid, and I say it's the most fun, challenging, exciting, best time, hardest thing I've ever done. So, obviously it's so rewarding, and being able to see her grow and seeing how fast she learns is, it's a treat. So, hopefully we'll see what she plans to do tomorrow. But, you have that transition of, I could go work out from 9 to 1 and then take a nap from 2 to 4, and that's not the case anymore. So just trying to help out my wife as best I can.
So we recently had JJ Blade on the show.
Anchor down.
And we were talking about, hey, the factory, and we were talking about Vandy, and we brought you up in that. So how much have you been able to talk to him and bring in another Vandy guy, another factory guy?
Yeah, I hope he said some good things. No, I think he's a phenomenal talent. David Forrest actually texted me when he got traded over here and said, "Got you another Vandy boy." I said, "About time." So, he's a tremendous talent, former first-round pick, SEC Player of the Year. I think that his ceiling is very high. I think that he has the ability to do a lot of great things. My message to him is, I just want you to be comfortable in your own skin. I want you to believe in yourself. I don't want you to feel like you have to walk on eggshells around here. And I've seen what he can do at the highest level of college, and I know that he can tap back into that. And I know he's been exposed to the big leagues a little bit on a small scale, but when he's comfortable in the box and he's believing and he's not thinking too much about mechanics or whatever, he's going to be a really good talent. I really like that trade.
I talked about this with Trevor May earlier. It's like we have so many young guys here, a lot of talented guys. This is a game of failure, and there's going to be the struggle.
Oh, yeah.
And I talked to him about, there's going to be times where you got to go put your arm around a guy. Yeah. And I think about, the role that you have in this franchise. You're a leader of this franchise. Just how important is it going to be for you to look over at a young guy and be like, man, I got to go help this guy out, because it is so tough to play day to day.
100%. And I think that's the most exciting part I'm looking forward to this season, is just being able to help people. I kind of feel like it's just kind of in my DNA to just walk over to somebody, throw my arm around them, say it's going to be okay. I've been in that similar situation, and man, I hit 200 in the first half last year, and you learn a lot about yourself and what it takes to get yourself into the right mindset, into what it's like to walk around with more confidence. And just to see these young guys, you can't help but see yourself. And when you were a young guy in Major League camp for the first time, and what guys did for you. So I'm just trying to pass on the same things that, when I was coming up with Houston, what Jose Altuve did for me, what George Springer did for me. And I'm just trying to pass those same things down. And, obviously when I came to this organization, Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, Marcus Semien, Mark Canna, those were the guys who, on the position player side, that I had looked up to, and I'm just looking to pass on those same things that those guys told me.
It is not easy to play at a high level defensively at multiple positions. It's hard enough to do it at one position, let alone multiple positions.
Oh, yeah.
You're able to do that. The numbers back it up.
Yeah.
Just how do you prepare to keep your body healthy and to know that, okay, today I could be in left, tomorrow I can be in second. They could put me at short. They could put me at third. I could DH. I could.
Yeah.
How do you mentally prepare, and how do you prepare physically to be able to do that?
I think the biggest thing for me is what I do on a physical standpoint is I always take my infield glove everywhere, whether if I'm in the infield, obviously, but if I go to the outfield, I always use a smaller glove, just so if I have to make that transition from left field to second base late in innings, I'm used to it in my head in practice of always having it on my hand. So, and that kind of took some time, once I was in AA and AAA and trying to feel what my routine was going to be. But I also think from a day in, day out standpoint, it comes with visualization. And that's kind of like the night before of, if I know once I get that lineup text that I'm in left field, okay, kind of before I go to bed, I'm visualizing making good plays in the outfield or having that glove on in the outfield. And then if I get a text, hey, you're at second base, it's me fielding a ground ball, me fielding those tough plays, me making the not routine plays. And I feel like it starts the night before the contest even starts. And, for me, I feel like that's always helped because I'm already visualizing the plays that I'm going to make before I even step foot in the locker room the next day. So I think for me, being able to visualize is something that has helped me throughout my career and also it helps you stick around because I knew when I got drafted as a second baseman and Jose Altuve was a second baseman, I knew I wasn't going to play second base in the big leagues, right? And once it got to be 2015 or so, and I made the futures game, that's when I kind of feel like they had a plan for me because they started moving me back in the outfield. So I knew, okay, if they move me back in the outfield, they think that I have a chance to be in the big leagues and play. And so that's kind of when that started. But I figured out, hey, if you can play multiple positions at a high level, then that just gives your manager or an organization that much more of you to the game. So I always pride myself on defense just because those pitchers who go out there every day, they work their butt off and they're trying to put food on the table just how I am. And nobody wants to obviously be standing out there more than they have to. So I will always lay out. I will always give everything I got out there because, it's more than just a game for me. It's, this is how people take care of their families. So I look at it on a deeper scale than just a game.
Let's end on this. You're one of the guys I thought of when we're going to change the rules, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to shift anymore.
Woo!
And we're going to have bigger bases and
Yeah.
we got a pitch timer now. I grew up in an era watching Ricky Henderson, Vince Coleman,
Kenny Lofton.
Kenny Lofton was there. I think about Tim Raines. I mean, I go
Tony
back
Womack.
to the 80s, baby, where
Yeah.
guys were stealing at will. That
Come
was a
on.
part of the game.
Come on.
I got to think this for you is like,
It's huge.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be – I think my goal right now is for me to steal at least 20 bags this year. That's the goal.
20. I got
Yeah.
more than that.
All right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I got to start at 20. So we're going to start there, and we're just going to take a day at a time and kind of realize where we're at. But, I think taking advantage of these new rule changes is going to be big for me, especially to shortstop. That's not going to be 5 feet to the right of second base because my bread and butter has always been no matter what. If I get 2 strikes on me, I've always been able to have good enough hands to work the ball right back up the middle. Well, they saw that, and they would always put the shortstop on the right side of the second base bag. Well, now they're going to have to make a decision. Okay, do we move the second baseman up into the middle, or do we put him in the hole? So now I'm interested to see how teams are going to play me depending upon the count. So, yeah, I think the new rules are going to be great.
Well, you've got a long way to go in your career. But,
Thank you.
But when that time ends,
All right.
I think broadcasting could be in your future.
Okay, all right. It'd be me and you.
No, I'm just saying you
make-
could be up in the booth.
Yeah.
You could be a studio guy.
Thank you.
But I mean, because intelligent baseball talk, I mean, you got it, and I think that could be something that long term would be something that keeps you in the game.
I appreciate it.
So I don't know if you've ever thought about that,
Yeah.
but broadcasting could be in your future.
Once I went to Vanderbilt and got my degree in communications, I feel like it was kind of a second calling.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that. But you got a long way to go.
Yeah, hopefully I got another 5 years in this game.
And you got a lot of bags to steal.
And I got some bags.
20,
to steal,
you
yeah.
way more than 20.
I gotta get my legs. I gotta get my legs underneath me.
All right, stay healthy. We'll see you back in Oakland.
Appreciate it.
Check it out behind me. The scoreboard is going for the first time since we've been here. A's Cactus League.
Somebody texted in or messaged us on YouTube. Can we tweet in? They got something set on the scoreboard. We don't have control over that. I don't know if our guys in A's Productions are here or if it's actually being run by the guys who work here at Hohokam. But I saw your note on there and wanted to bring it up. Yeah, it's the first time we saw it. First game Saturday, 12:05 in the Bay Area, 1:05 here if you're in Arizona, against the wait for it, the Snakes on Saturday.
How cool is that? The scoreboard's going behind us. 2023 Cactus League. Let's go. By the way, we're going to start an hour early tomorrow in the Bay Area. What time?
We're going to be on from noon to 3 in the Bay. So 1 to 4 here.
We'll put it out on Twitter. We got so much content before we get out of here. We want to play it all for you because this is what you're going to get. Because after this, going to be just a lot of games, which is great. We love spring training games. We're going to be on before every spring training game, 2 hours before, but you don't get access to players like this after once games start. You just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, to have guys on the field, no one playing behind us, you just don't get this. So what you're going to hear, and especially what you're going to see on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. This kind of access starting Saturday's gone, right? You just don't have it anymore. So that's why we were here at this time to give you this. So this kind of access and these kind of interviews you can watch throughout spring training to get you ready for the season. By the way, Tony Kemp, I just looked, his career high in stolen bases was last year 11. 20, I think these guys are being conservative because, you don't want to put out a crazy number. I think crazy numbers are coming. I'm willing, even though as a baseball employee, I guess you'd call me, I cannot gamble on baseball. Right?
That's a fact, yes.
But if I could gamble on baseball, I'm gambling on stolen bases. They're going way up. If you gave me, you'd probably have to go offshore on this. But if you started betting on like how many stolen bases per team, or if you did over and unders on players, I think these guys are all being conservative. I think it's going to be the wild, wild west when you start talking about running. And I think the A's, we still haven't got to our one big question.
Was it question or goal?
One big question.
Oh, I thought it was goal. That throws off everything.
You don't remember I had the article for you yesterday?
I swear, unless I'm, what's the word I'm looking? If I'm, was it Pettit or Clement said misremembering?
Did our man? So is Will Leach? Go look at the article. Will Leach.
From Will Leach. I thought it was one goal. I think I have it right here. Reasonable goals for every MLB team 2020. One big but reasonable goal for each team.
All right, reasonable goal. All right, we'll switch it from one big question. I don't know why I wrote that. One reasonable goal. I am flexible. Unlike you, I am flexible. All right, what do you got?
My big goal? I think it's find the next ace. Find the guy that's going to lead the rotation for the next 5, 6, 7 years. It could be Waldichuk. Could be Muller. Could be, I almost said Aller, but yeah, no. I'm going to go with Waldichuk or Muller right now. Fuji for this year. We'll see what happens after this year. But I'm looking at Waller. I'm looking at Muller and Waldichuk right now. It's those two guys. I'm not going to throw in Mason Miller or Cusick or Ginn because they're still far away. And Hoagland, I'm going to look at those two guys. And I like Hogan Harris, but I'm looking at Waldichuk and Muller right now.
One reasonable goal is the A's need to find an ace.
What did Verlander say? They didn't have a guy to match up against me.
Karate Kid, where you got to come get the headset, stand behind us. We told you to have one. You got to stand behind us. What do you got? We told you to come up. This is Ray the Karate Kid. Ray, we told you to have one reasonable goal. What is that one reasonable goal?
Well, that one reasonable goal is the A's need to get out of the bottom 5 of offense this year.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, that could happen. When you were literally number 30 in every offensive category except for like home runs, you can go nowhere but where? Up. It's a good goal.
I'll ask a question, Ray. I know I'm not the smartest baseball guy in the world, and I know we have a ton of rule changes going on now, but you tell me, Ray, as a baseball fan, do you have to still score more runs than the other team to win a game?
Last I checked, yes.
So being out of the bottom 5 in offense may help with that?
I think so. It definitely adds to the win total just a little bit.
All right. I accept that. Here's my one reasonable goal. We said reasonable, right?
Correct.
Will the A's change their offensive strategies to be competitive this season? Now, you might think, what?
I think I might know where you're going.
Will the A's change? And I say the A's. That just doesn't mean the players. That just doesn't mean the coaches. This means the guys who are making decisions right above us up here in these offices called the front office. When I say the A's, I mean the A's. Will the A's change their offensive strategies to be competitive this season? This is a big one. And I've been alluding to it and talking about it ad nauseum. Are they going to be willing to change who they want to be? We already know what they want to be because their GM, our GM, David Force has said on this very program, on the David Force Show, ball goes far, team goes far. Right or wrong?
That's a fact.
Ball goes far, team goes far. These teams have been built on home runs. These teams have been getting on base, hitting home runs. Extra base hits, home runs, power leads to runs, power leads to wins. That's how they've designed these teams. That's what they have wanted. That has been the team's DNA. When the A's have been successful, go back to 2012. We talked about that year. From June 2nd on, what did the A's do more than anybody else?
Hit home runs.
Yeah, none of you were around, but in 2012, when we made that great comeback, June 2nd on, no one hit more home runs than the A's, changed everything. They started hitting the ball at the ballpark, started scoring runs, pitching got better. Next thing you know, you chase down the Rangers, history. And those teams were built on what? Home runs. And then when you started winning, when you had Chapman, Olsen, all these guys, how did they win? Home runs. You know, you got Cespedes and Brandon Moss, and you got Donaldson. You got all these guys hitting home runs. Then you got Chapman, and you got Olsen. You got all these guys hitting home runs. Oh, my God, we were enamored with home runs, right? Oh, look at Cheeve and Chad Pinder and Ramon Laureano, and all these guys can – oh, Marcus Simeon's hitting it. We were built on home runs.
2012, they were 7th in Major League Baseball home runs.
7th. You look at all these every year. Give me 13th. Go if you do ESPN.com, you can find them quick.
Yeah, I have baseball.
2013, where were the A's in home runs?
2013, the A's were 3rd.
3rd. Do you see? I know what I'm talking about, folks. I've been covering this team. Essentially, I am the longest tenured person now. Once Susan Slusser left, has there been anybody who covered this team longer than me?
Do we not count Ken?
How do you cover the team when you're the play-by-play guy?
Oh, he's still here. But no, there's
media.
I am the longest tenured media person. Where were they in 14?
Oh, I went ahead to 19.
All right, go to 19. Where were they?
3rd.
3rd. I know what I'm talking about, folks. This team's been built on home runs. Where were they in 20? Shortened season.
1 second. They were a little farther down on the list, like 20th or so.
No way.
Only had 71 home runs that year.
Can't really go on that year. Plus, it's not proving my point. Where were they in?
Let's look at 18.
18.
That's when they got back to the postseason for the first time. They were 3rd that year. So, okay, they were 3rd. Let me make sure because I might have looked at 18 before 19. In 19, the A's were, they were 5th in 2019.
Okay, so all these years, other than the COVID year, that the A's 12, 13, 14, 18, 19, that we're going to the postseason, were top 5, if not top 10 in home runs. Okay? When the A's have gone to the playoffs, I'm telling you, we were built on home runs. I'm going back to my one reasonable goal. Will the A's change their offensive strategies to be competitive this year? Because they are not going to be top 5, they're not going to be top 10, and they're not going to be top 20 in home runs. So are they going to be willing to say, to hell with it, let's run. Let's bunt. Let's put the ball on the ground. Let's challenge infield defenses now that they can't shift. Let's play a completely different style of baseball than we have over the last 10, 12 years. I get it. Want to find an ace. Great. I get it. You want to be out of the bottom 5 in offense. I get it. I'm asking you to literally change the way you have operated. The way you've done your numbers, the way you've done your data, the way you've coached, everything that you've done for the last 12, 13 years. Are you willing to change to be competitive? Because you're not going to win with dingers. You're not. I can't. What would be the scenario? Jesus Aguilera all of a sudden returns to hitting 30 bombs. Seth Brown hits 30 bombs. Ramon Laureano gives you 20 bombs. That means he has to be here for the entire season.
Shea hitting over 20.
Shea hits over 20. And then one of these first basemen, Noda, Dermis, one of these guys hits 25 plus. And still, that's probably not going to be enough because you're not going to get your small guys to all be hitting bombs. I'm just saying, are you going to be willing to change who you are to win this season? To be an old school style, we're gonna take 90 feet at will. We're going to be, remember the one was hallmark of the early 2000 Angel teams under Mike Scioscia was the way they ran the bases. Scioscia's teams took first to third. They challenged your outfield. What was their pop? Garrett Anderson, Tin Salmon, but they weren't a beer league softball team like the Yankees.
Let me look up the 2000.
Okay, no, we don't need to do that. We don't have enough time. You keep running out of time. I don't need you to look up the Angels. But they were great at base running. They took 90 feet. They stole bags. They were aggressive. That's what the A's. Finale, I got the approval. When are we going to get you? Tomorrow. We're having a vice president tomorrow on this program. When you talk about the big leagues, that's the big leagues, baby. So, but we need to get back to, we got to be like the running A's. You know, you're not getting a ton of home runs. Go back to the early 80s. I mean, you're going to, got to run. Everybody, green light. Why would you not have a green light? Why? Mark Kotsay's been busy and stressed, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get him. We'll get him at some point, obviously the Mark Kotsay show, but I'm hoping we're going to get him for out here. But I'm going to be like this. Why would you not run everybody? Why would you not challenge, especially early? These pitchers are going to be freaked out by the timer. They're going to be freaked out with a runner on base. They can only throw so many times. There's going to be so much going in their head. Run, and then run some more.
Yeah, be like the 76 A's. Wait for it. 341 bags that year.
Will the A's change their offensive strategies to be competitive this season? That's kind of deep, and I'm normally not that deep, but I thought about that all last night. While you guys were out boozing all night long and carousing, and I was back at the DoubleTree writing notes and getting ready for the show while they're out getting hammered all night long, and I'm working. That's what I came up with.
You're not going to explain that you fell asleep for dinner?
Yeah. It was windy out all day. We worked all day. I literally laid down, and we were supposed to go at 7:30.
Yeah.
Yep. I laid down. Next thing you know, I woke up. It was dark. Everything was dark in the room. I was like, I had no idea what time it was.
What are we going to get into? Not today, maybe tomorrow. We have to talk about our car conversation on the way over here. About the game we were talking about.
Oh. It stems from R&D. We'll get into it.
It's a tease for tomorrow.
Some people got exposed. Some people didn't. We will get into it. Who are we playing next?
We're going to do J.P. Sears.
J.P. Sears came over from the New York Yankees in the trade for Frankie Montas. My God, my heart breaks for Frankie. Had the surgery. They're saying what? Hopefully after July.
Yeah, maybe later in the season.
I love Frankie. Frankie was really good to us. Frankie, I remember when I interviewed Frankie at I don't even know what was it then? AT&T Park?
You would have been, yeah. Ooh.
It would have been AT&T Park over the Giants when Frankie was like officially going to be in the rotation. He had just had his first child. I remember doing an interview with him. It was the Bay Bridge series. And I talked about, hey man, so many different things are going good for you in your life. I'm so happy for you. And I know he had the little issue with the PEDs. That was tough, but I've always been a Frankie Montas fan. And I think he's a good dude. And he's so good to us on A's Cast Live. I will, like those A's, wherever they go, we'll always root for them. And Frankie, when he came back with the Yankees, you could tell he missed being here. But I hope he heals fast. And we pray for Frankie. He's good people. But in return, got Ken Waldichuk and J.P. Sears. And that's going to work out well for the Athletics. And J.P. Sears, feisty lefty from the Citadel, from the South. He's a tough kid. And we knew it because he pitched against the A's. Remember, he pitched against the A's with the Yankees, and all of a sudden we knew exactly who he was when he got traded over. And he joined us earlier today here at the park. With us here on A's Cast Live from the field, Ho-Ho-Camp Park. Haven't seen you since last time in Oakland. How have you been? How was the offseason?
It was good. It was good. Down in South Carolina, had some great weather and, spent some good time with some good friends and family and, try to get better a little bit.
It was such an interesting year for you when you think about Yankees, now to the A's. Just how did you reflect? What was it like in the offseason just to kind of catch a breath?
Yeah, I kind of didn't let myself really get into it that much during the season, of all that was happening. And, I had a lot of firsts last year, debut and first win and, first time getting traded in the big leagues, things like that. So kind of took a second to, sit back and relax and enjoy that, that part of it, the work of last year. And, it was a long year and it was like a lot of fun. And, I'm just blessed to be here, with this opportunity with the A's and, super grateful for the Yankees for, doing so much for me, coming to the minor leagues and, giving me the opportunity to pitch in the big leagues for them. And that's obviously something I won't ever forget. But yeah, I'm just proud to be here and proud to be an A and looking forward to a good camp.
I remember when you pitched against us at Yankee Stadium, we were looking you up, okay, Jet Citadel, all this, and the next day you're being traded over.
Yeah.
I mean, just wild to think pitching against the A's, then being traded to the A's. Just huge for your career with an opportunity that you weren't going to get exactly with the Yankees. You're getting an opportunity now with the A's.
Yeah, I feel like that, a lot of the big sayings in baseball is, you're auditioning for other teams when you're playing for the team you're playing for as well. So,
yeah.
When I was with the Yankees, I was with the Yankees, all in and, I was proud to be there and I had a lot of fun, but, that's a part of baseball. It's a part of the business. And, obviously, Oakland maybe saw something they liked about me when I pitched against them and, I think continued to follow me a little bit, and now here I am.
Yeah, you're definitely a polished pitcher coming out of college, going through your ranks with the Yankees. So when you look at a spring training like this, what are you working on? What are you doing trying to get better?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to not feel like that, that first game is like the first game of the season because, you go out there as a pitcher, you have to be ready to compete every time, whether it's 2 innings in spring training game or, whether it's our ALDS or playoffs or, regular season games. So I'm just looking to try and get better, trying to, be more in the zone with my off-speed pitches, just try and throw a lot of strikes, get some of those numbers a little bit better up with my fastball, just trying to be more consistent with it. And, consistency is key for a starting pitcher and just trying to get a good feel with everything. And but everything's coming good so far. And I'm looking forward to this weekend and, starting to build up that pitch count and stuff.
Yeah. So when you first go out, are you just, I'm throwing fastball change up, I'm only throwing 2 pitches, maybe I'm only throwing a fastball, locations, changing speeds with my fastball? How do you attack spring in the very beginning?
Very beginning, no. I'm definitely not limited on pitches. Just go out there and try and just be competitive, like, be back in the moment again. I think that's a big part of it is getting back into being in the moment and, competing. I haven't necessarily done that the whole off season, other than here and there, playing some games with friends or whatever. But it's just nice to be back out there competing. I think I'm just excited for that. And that's what I'll be, be on my mind whenever I get out there is just, let's just attack these hitters and let's see how good that, how much they've been working and how much I've been working and let's, let it roll out there. So I'm excited about it. We'll see.
There's a lot of unknown in your clubhouse, right? There's a lot of young players. Like earlier today, Kyle Muller, we got our first chance to meet him. Obviously, we've seen you and Ken Waldachuk come over from the Yankees. So talk about what the fans haven't seen yet is a lot of arms and a lot of young talent in the clubhouse.
Yeah, we have a good group of guys in there. We've only been, pitchers been here for 10 days or so, and position players less than that. So it's already the vibes have already been up. Everybody's getting to know each other. Not a lot of new faces for everybody. So I think everybody's kind of going through that. So it makes it a little bit easier. Everybody's introducing themselves to each other. I think everybody's just really excited to compete against each other and see what each other's got. And this is the type of year where we feel like that you have nothing to lose. We're here to work hard, and that's definitely like what Kotze has been preaching to us, that we're here to work. And everybody's kind of got their heads down, getting here early, doing what they got to do, and taking care of business. So it should be a good camp for us. I'm looking forward to it.
And this is your first spring in Arizona, and it's really cold. This is not what it's like. In the next couple of days, it hits 75 every day, and it's perfect, and you want to sit by the pool or play golf.
Right.
So Florida, you've trained obviously in Tampa for all these years, for these years. So it's not this cold.
Yeah, I hear that. I kind of brought all the cold weather with me, I guess. I'm not a big fan of this cold weather. I'm used to the humidity. I'm from South Carolina, so I'm a little used to the Florida humidity and heat. So maybe we'll get that sun a little warmer in the next couple of weeks, and body will start feeling a little better.
I tell people all the time, if you can get down, I mean, North Carolina is beautiful. South Carolina, the long beaches are absolutely beautiful. If you can get down there, South Carolina is beautiful.
Yeah. We have a lot of great beaches and, a lot of great people. And I'm blessed to be from there. And my family and friends are back there. And, they do a great job supporting me. And, I'm always excited to go home in the off season and see all them. And, but, it's the season now. It's time to go. And so I'm ready to get after it.
I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you last time we had you on the field when we did that interview.
Yeah.
A's fans are fired up. They're fired up for you. They were fired up for the trade when you and Ken Waldachuk came over. Obviously, Waldachuk from St. Mary's. And, it's one of those deals where, the future's bright and you're a big part of this future.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be excited that, you know what, this is when it turns around and you're going to be a part of that process.
Yeah, and I think that we kind of take that, a step at a time. Obviously, that's the end goal, right? Is to build a future and to be a competitive team and to be in the playoffs, and that's what we all want here. And I think that you'll learn that over the next couple of months, you'll see that from these guys that we're ready to compete, and we don't care the age or where we are or anything like that in our careers. We're just excited to be here and proud to be A's, and looking forward to seeing the A's fans out here some this week.
Well, can't wait to see you compete. Stay healthy, and we'll see you back in Oakland.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
JP Sears. I mean, there's arms here. And not to be negative, but that's why I'm just sad Cole Irvin is not here, because the competition for the starting five, if Cole Irvin was still here, wow. It also means you'd have a ton of left-handed pitching.
Oh, we love tall lefties. JP Sears is not the norm.
But can you imagine if Cole was still here? And you're like, okay, listen, we got Cole, you got Blackburn, you got Fuji. I mean, Kyle Muller and Waldachuk, I know that's four lefties, but you're talking about, I mean, everybody's got, you got three real plus arms when you're talking Fuji, Muller, and Waldachuk. And then you got guys with the experience and have become really, talk about guys that can win at the big league level in Cole and Blackburn. I mean, wow. And then waiting the wings to come back, Caprillion.
Hogan Harris, my guy.
Hogan Harris that we got to see today. You know what? I don't think it's a comp, but they are a little similar in build and the way they throw. I thought he kind of reminded me of Jake Diekman.
Yeah, I can tell by the throwing motion for sure.
I'm saying it's not apples to apples. I mean, one guy, it's not apples to apples, but Hogan Harris kind of reminds me a little bit of Jake Diekman.
Hey, if he can pitch as well as Diekman did for a couple of years, and he has still, I think Hogan's gonna be more of a starter. But hey, I don't care as long as he's out here. That's all I mean.
I'm saying it's not apples to apples. I'm just saying when you watch him, when I looked at, what was the first thing I said? We saw Harris today. And I would say, God, they're probably their build is very similar.
6'3" Harris is the big number.
It says 6'2". Yeah. And what was Diekman, like 6'3"?
Jake Diekman is 6'4".
Yeah. And the way they throw, it's very. I'm telling you, he reminds me of Jake Diekman.
Hogan Harris kind of got very popular because I think of the year he had last year in the minors, but I think it was mainly where was he was dominant. We talked about this because he was bad in Vegas, but everyone's bad in Vegas. But in Lansing, in 7 starts, he had a 1.38 ERA, and then in Midland, in 7 starts, he had a 1.67 ERA.
Having Vegas as an affiliate is great. It's great from a standpoint of it's an airport that has flights to anywhere that Mickey Morabito needs to get guys. It really is. I mean, Vegas is an ideal AAA spot for you. It's ideal. Like, you can get people to, because that's the thing. It's like, as great as Sacramento was for the A's, you can't getting guys from Sacramento. I mean, if you're wherever you are, it's not as easy if guys are in Sac. Now, obviously, if guys are on the road away from your home city, who knows? But Vegas is such an ideal minor league place because no matter where you are, you could get a flight from Vegas to somewhere. Mostly direct. If not, it's not going to be that hard to do whatever you got to connect. But for the most part, wherever the A's are going to go, wherever every major city has a direct flight to Las Vegas.
Yeah. And
every major city in the country.
Yeah. Speaking of Vegas, you know who we're going to need to get tomorrow then, right? The manager of the greatest offense.
Vegas Joe Hughes.
He was texting me about.
Was he really?
But
the great Joe Hughes.
About crapping on your clout of covering the A's.
I can't believe you did that. I really can't believe you did that. Like, who's covered the team longer than me?
Well,
Kalahara?
Since we agreed that was Martin even born when he
Martin
started covering
Gallegos? Like who?
We got to get Fran on.
The great Fran Reardon.
I mean, he's here. I'll text after the show and see what he's doing.
I'm telling you, we might have to start tomorrow at like 10 a.m. We still have so much more to do down here.
Yeah, we're supposed to talk to David Forst, our general manager.
I still don't know about Kotze.
We're going to have the
Kotze's
Duke.
supposed to text me.
The Duke, Jim Duquette.
The great Jim Duquette from Sirius XM, one of the
he's supposed to be
top
here.
Executives, now turned media guy, who we're hearing there could be a chance. We're not going to ask him, but we're hearing a chance that once certain things happen at home, kids leaving, he will get back into the biz.
Yeah, don't worry, people. Don't worry, Ace fans. We will not have Mike Farron on. We saw enough of him the other night.
The great Mike Farron.
So we'll have Duquette, David Forrest, maybe Kotze. We're going to play Sam Moll for everyone tomorrow. Sammy Spin Rate, as we told him, and he never heard that nickname before. That's just who we have so far.
I still have all my notes that we weren't able to get to today. The stuff on Anthony Rendon with the Angels is literally hilarious. Looks great. Feeling great. Can't wait. They can't wait. I mean, even though he's played no games.
Are the Angels stoked?
I mean, they are so stoked to have him. Phil Nevin, the new manager, is excited about the offseason program for him. There's a whole article in the USA Today how, it's the Angels. For some reason, it's almost like the Angels pay money to the media to overhype them. I don't know what it is. Like, there's always this ton of hype about how the Angels are turning it around. Like, this is going to be the year. But we all know the truth that is not the case. And this story about, I want to read you some of the stuff just to give you an idea of what a joke this is. Rendon, who signed a 7-year, $245 million contract, right? Folks, 7 years, $245 million. The first 3 years of this contract, 7 years, $245 million. 3 years, he's missed 219 games. In 3 years, he's missed 219 games. But Phil Nevin says he's certainly hearing the noise from a lot of people, and you can hear it in his voice, the way he talks. He's ready to prove those guys wrong. I will not be shocked if he comes out and he's playing all the time. He's fine. Back to the Anthony Rendon, and the injuries are behind him. He says he feels as great as he has in a long time. Our conversations this winter have been really good. Our workouts, he hasn't missed anything. He's ready to go. He's excited. He's at an age where he's got a lot left, peak left, and he feels that way. The skipper of the Angels. Guys missed 219 games in the last 3 years after pocketing millions and millions of dollars. But don't worry, you're all stoked. He's ready to go and feel he's back to being Anthony Rendon again.
I don't believe it. Wake me up in July when he's hurt.
The Angels are a joke. Are you ready for another Angel mocking?
Oh, boy. Oh.
Today, folks, in Angels history. Today, the Angels, year one of a 10-year deal of Albert Pujols coming back to the Angels. The next 10 years, this is one of the worst contracts in the history of baseball. They talked about it on The Athletic today. I wonder if I still have it up here. I had it up. So remember, he signed that $245 million. Was it 12 years?
No, I thought it was 10 years.
10 years, whatever it was. 10 years, 12 years, $245 million, one of the worst contracts in the history of baseball. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. How many playoff games did Albert Pujols win as a Los Angeles Angels, Anaheim, Disney, whatever they're called?
Well, I know the only time I can think of when they made the postseason was in 14, right? And they got swept by the Royals.
So you're telling me they paid $245 million to bring the greatness of Albert Pujols to the Angels, and they didn't win one playoff game with him?
In the last 10 years, they made the playoffs once, and they got swept in the first round by the Royals.
They
Trust me,
didn't-
I live with an Angels fan.
They didn't win one playoff game with that $245 million contract.
No.
How much money did they spend? How much did they give Albert Pujols out of that $245 million?
It was 240, but
240.
10 for 240. How much they gave him all of it?
He got 200. And they won how many playoff games?
None.
And then they had to just get rid of him.
He became
He was so
a
bad.
Dodger.
He was so bad. So he goes to the Dodgers, then, of course, ends with the Cardinals. It was actually a great story. But there's like, you dumped him. You got rid of him. You were like, yeah, that whole veteran presence thing, we don't want you any. We got this guy named Shohei Ohtani that needs to DH every day. You can't play first because it's embarrassing and it's painful to watch you play first. So we got to get rid of you. Bye-bye. We're eating the contract. So you end kind of on a really sour note. And then now all of a sudden, Albert shows up out of nowhere, bang, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, I forgot that personal clause in the contract. It's 10 years, $10 million. So it's $1 million a year. The Angels are going to pay Albert Pujols just to be around. Just to be around. Come to spring training, hang out. And Sam Blum, the Angels writer, who I wouldn't say, it was an interesting interview. He and I didn't see eye to eye on how I view the Angels and he views the Angels. I don't even think you were here.
Oh, well, I was on my honeymoon.
Because I'm one of the guys that go, Ohtani's great, but unless he's on the right team, guy pitches once every 6 days and only DHs, his greatness can only be so great. There's too much of the time that he's not playing for you that he's got to be on a team that can have 5 starters plus him. Because if you're the ace and you're the guy and you're going only 6 times every 6 days and you're not even sniffing 30 starts and you're just a DH, so you don't help me in the field. It's like once again, we're a volume game and you can't give me this ultimate volume. I'm like, he's great, but, and no one wants to hear that. Everybody wants you to drink the Kool-Aid. Okay, I wasn't. But he wrote in this article for The Athletic that this $240 million contract, this is the Angels writer for The Athletic, what a disaster it was, but what a steal it is to have Albert back at 10 years, $10 million. $1 million a year just to have Albert around. That's a steal. And I'm going, wait a minute. I've got same company, The Athletic, our national baseball columnist, Sears, who's a colleague of Sam Blum's, who's telling us that the R&D department for the Angels may be the worst in baseball. Their research and data may be the worst in all of baseball. So instead of putting that $1 million that could be multiple salaries of guys that can help you with your research and your data and your analytics and make you a better organization overall, you're just going to give it to old man Pujols to walk around and talk to people. That's a steal and a great deal. That's called dumb.
Yeah, I don't really care for it. What's he gonna do? Talk about Angels playoff history when he was there?
Yeah, it's like he never lived up to the contract, so it's not like you're going to have bobbleheads for him. Hey, it's retirement, Albert Pujols. Let's retire his number. Let's do so. You're not.
I can see.
You told him he was an old stiff and told him to get out.
I can see this is a 10-year, $10 million deal with the Cardinals, but not the
Correct.
Angels. No, it doesn't make sense.
He's not. It's like to have Albert around. Man, you need to dump money into your development. You need to dump money into technology that you're seeing, as we had Grady Fuse on, A's legend, on earlier today, talking about, beefing up. All the A's are beefing up their minor league stuff with trainers, cameras, technology. Everybody's kind of following what the Astros were doing. We're like, hey, man, you got to treat AAA, AA, high A. You got to treat them all with a lot of data and technology and get everybody better, and you got to make them better. And then, you're not going to do that. The Angels supposedly are. Now, Artie Moreno was looking to sell. Now he's not. But according to Sears, the Angels are so far behind in technology, but you're going to dump $10 million in the next 10 years into Albert Pujols just to be around when He's not a fan favorite. It's not like you're going to monetize him being around. I mean, he's a legend. I mean, but what is it? Him walking around talking to guys is going to make your organization better? No. Your research and data department and getting salaries into that and money into that is going to do a lot more for you than having Albert Pujols just walk around and say hi to prospects.
Yeah, knowing from experience living with my wife, who's an Angels fan, and my father-in-law, and they love Pujols, the historical part of Pujols as a Cardinal, but didn't care for him as an Anaheim Angel.
Are you telling me he's worth $1 million of advice versus what you could be doing in your research, your R&D department?
No,
seriously,
no. Unless
what would be more value? Pujols walking around at spring training and every so often showing up, or dumping an extra $1 million into your R&D department?
Dumping the $1 million.
It's hands down. If you ask 29 other teams, not the Angels, they have to now because they were dumb to put in the contract. And that was one thing, like if he led the Angels to a World Series, if he led the Angels to playoff victories, if he won an MVP, he didn't do any of that. Did he make an All-Star? How many did he make? One? I'm going to say he made maybe one All-Star team with him. Check my facts.
Pujols as an Angel he was an All-Star one time, finishing the MVP, top 20 of the
one
MVP.
Time.
Top 20 of the MVP once, the year the Angels went to the postseason. The following year, at age 35, he was an All-Star.
And you said I didn't follow his Angels career.
I mean, the first couple of years, he always drove in runs for them. But I mean, it's not hard when Trout gets on base.
Do I need to go to the analytics book and tell you that if you got a bunch of guys hitting in front of you, that doesn't mean as much as you think it does?
Yeah, we devalue RBIs now. That's what the new thing is.
I don't, but I'll go to the analytics book. Yeah, I just can't believe Albert Pujols started today, or it was yesterday. The next 10 years, he gets $1 million a year from the Angels just to show up and hang out and come to spring training. Oh my God. I cannot believe it. And at least in the article, Sam Blum did say it was weird for a lot of people to go, oh yeah, I forgot about that clause. He's really going to do it? Oh yeah. Albert has no shame. Albert's coming to get the money. Albert has no shame. You want to talk about how I technically, after have made hundreds of millions of dollars, I wouldn't do it. I would say to the Cardinals, hey, I'd rather do this with you. And I'm sure the Cardinals would figure out a way to do something. But Albert said, I agree to the contract. I'm going to honor the contract. Albert, they don't want you around. They don't want you around. You have no shame. You have no shame. It's sad for the Angels. It's sad for an all-time great Albert. I mean, Albert, you need this money grab?
No, he doesn't.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look. But we're not going to end on that. This day in Angels history, I wanted to rip the Angels. Why? Because I like ripping the Rally Monkey. Them and the Astros are my two favorite punching bags.
We don't have the Rally Monkey with us, but
no, right. Rally Monkey's at home, safe in the Townsend home studio. Don't worry, the Rally Monkey's
my
there.
wife still wants to know if we have it, and the answer is yes, we still have it.
You know, my two favorite punching bags are the Astros and the Angels, but I'm willing to start taking some out on the Rangers.
Well, the only thing we have is a Nolan bobblehead. So
I can go to and I
did get you the ice cream cup of the hat, the helmet thing. We can.
I've wanted to hate the Mariners. I've wanted to. I want to dislike everybody in our division. The Mariners are like vanilla ice cream. Yeah.
They made the playoffs finally after what?
Yeah.
How many years?
How do you hate the Mariners? What are you going to hate about the Mariners?
I don't have an answer to that. I don't hate Seattle or the town of Seattle.
What are you going to hate? What's there to hate about Seattle?
King Felix is really good and dominated the A's.
That was so long
I know.
ago.
That's
I mean, what's there to hate? What really is there to hate about Seattle and the Seattle Mariners?
Nothing really.
I can't muster. I feel, like a football coach, like Lou Holtz would always figure out a way to hate the enemy.
Jerry Dipoto trading Kendall Graveman when everyone was pissed that they traded him. There you go.
That's all I got.
That's all you got over the last.
That's all I got. One guy that is, you heard Brody Brazil earlier talk about it. Trevor May. This guy's a blessing to bring in. Not only what he does from a pitching standpoint, but the fact that he understands the media game. He's been with Chris Rose on that podcast. he gets it. He's going to have a career well after baseball. We talked a lot with him about different things, but Trevor May, veteran here, a guy that can be the closer, probably will be the closer, but multiple guys that can take that role, but a veteran arm in the bullpen, kind of resurrecting the career after an injury last year. Cannot wait. We had him earlier today from the ballpark. Back on the program, it's great to have him, and never before in all of our history of A's Cast Live has a player brought his own camera to the set ready to rock. How are you?
I'm good. I put it there, not even knowing that it'd be perfectly in the shot, but I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing it. Well, spring training is always a special time. A little cold right now, and especially yesterday was freezing. But, it's a time to where you're starting to realize with some of these young kids, I mean, you've been around it for a long time, but, Kyle Muller, just talking with him where he just said right now where he just goes, I'm tired of being in the minor leagues. I'm ready to compete. I'm ready to be the guy in the major leagues. I mean, we have a lot of young, confident guys who are ready to change their careers. And I love seeing that. I think as a veteran guy who's going to mentor a lot of these guys, you got to love seeing that.
Oh, yeah. If someone doesn't say that, maybe you have a problem. You should definitely want to get out of the minors as soon as you can. But yeah, there's a lot of hungry young dudes there. I even before I came down here, I know we talked a couple months ago, and one of the biggest draws to this team was how exciting a lot of these young guys are. And the A's organization has a reputation of, having some young stars appear and start to, take the league by storm. And I think there's a handful of guys in there that have an opportunity to do that, sooner rather than later. And it's going to be a lot of fun to be, part of that, watch that happen.
Not everybody figures out in their career that, there's life beyond baseball. And you can kind of set yourself up if you want during your time while playing. You've started to do that. You've done the podcast. You're on with Chris Rose and all the different things that you do. So if there is something you want to do after baseball, you're kind of paving that path. When did you start to realize personality, having fun, building a brand? Because that's really what it's doing. Whether you think you're doing it or not, you are building a brand. When did you think about that and went, yeah, I like this, I'm going to run with it?
The year was 2008 when I was drafted. No, I knew someday it was going to end. Growing up, I was big, just took school really seriously. I was always kind of into the performing side of things. I think that if I wasn't so into sports as a kid and had more time, I would have been probably in theater or something like that. I was always the guy in high school doing the class competition lip syncs and all that stuff for that was always my
you were
job.
That guy.
I was the guy. And so it just makes a lot of sense that I've gravitated towards a lot of hobbies and things that are also performing, just like baseball is. And so and I just kind of started to narrow the things that I enjoy the most down over the years, and just leaned into them. In the off season, I love to spend my time pursuing those things. I get really passionate and excited about it, and I've just always been about following those things that I'm really excited about.
What in your career, what were your thoughts when you played against the A's? Because obviously you'll see a ton of different versions, right? It's just the way we work. It's like 3 years, really good, almost at time can have some dominant type teams, and then all of a sudden it's more of the going younger, things have changed. So as someone playing against the A's all these years, what was your perception of this organization, and how do you feel now?
It was definitely, rebuilding has become like more of a clear thing, I guess, in the last probably decade, where teams will be like, we are rebuilding, right? I think it was always unspoken before that a little bit. And I feel like the A's organization, since I've been playing, has been very quick and has not had a lot of those years in a row, which can be can happen at times for some organizations. There's always a crew, 2 or 3 guys that come and just like seemingly come out of nowhere and anchor the middle of the order from the Josh Donaldson days and then into the Chappie and the Olsen last few years, and just getting a lot of value out of guys that maybe needed a fresh start somewhere. I personally can identify that with a lot with that too. Just getting with another organization, you feel like you've been cleansed of anything that you're struggling with where you just were. And so, but yeah, from the outside looking in, there's just gritty, grinding team, not fun to pitch to, not fun to play against, willing to do all the little things to win a game, even if like your numbers weren't popping off of page at you. It was just one of those, you're like, man, I feel like I'm walking through quicksand today trying to pitch to these guys. And that's how it's kind of always been ever since that faded debut I had against Samardzija in the Coliseum. Fortunately, I haven't pitched that bad since, but I got my first taste that day, just with how big the stadium. It was very, very, oh my God, I'm in the big leagues.
You said something really interesting, cleansed. And, I talk so much to young players, and I talk about this as the land of opportunity. Like if you were a young player when you were first coming up and I was talking to you when you were out here, we'd be talking about, hey, you're not being blocked. You play well, you put up numbers, you're going to get an opportunity. On a veteran side, something we don't talk a lot about is when you come here as a veteran player, you start to realize that you can be who you want to be. That's something that really Billy Beane set up years and years ago. Billy took over, his first year was 1997. So this has kind of been, and it's kind of way it's always been when you look at the pictures of the guys in the 70s and the 80s. It's been a freewheeling organization for a long time. But just talk about how, as a veteran guy, you can come in and kind of make this what you want to make. Does that make sense? Make of it what you want to make of it.
Exactly. Chris Bassett actually said, he goes, you can be you. Not that you can't other places, but it's very, very like a ball of clay that you can mold, and you can be anyone you want to be. Like, for example, you never grown a beard before, you go to the A's, you can have a beard. That's what I'm working on. That's one of my little ways.
Your hair can be as long as you want it to be.
You just there's a lot of that stuff that might be, your veteran leadership have things that they value the most, and you go, and there's a lot of veteran guys, so you're little eggshells. And I just over the just watching the interviews and the going and playing against the teams with the walkout songs and the right field stands going crazy, and the sand, it's definitely, I don't know, I feel like it encompasses the spirit of like sports and true fandom, and it's really, really like kind of authentic and pure, and that's so important for a guy trying to play a sport at a high level and perform, is if you can get comfortable and feel like someone's cheering for you, it goes a long way. And I feel like that is a hallmark of not only the organization but also the fan base.
Yeah, I think we have better talent than people think with these young guys, but you know what? I know it. They're going to struggle at some point.
Oh yeah.
And it's this game is so mental. We're just talking to Adam Muller, and Adam Muller was talking about Stephen Vogt taking him aside, saying, "Hey, let me help you. It's more than just throwing the baseball. You've got to learn the scouting reports. You got to know your own scouting report. You got to know how to get people out. There's a process to being a pro and being a good pro." What's it going to be like for you think, this year? At some point, you're going to need to put your arm around some of these young guys. They're going to struggle. They're going to have some issues. They're going to struggle, whether it's off the field, on the field. It's just a reality. We're human beings. Just tell us how you see, now that you've been in the clubhouse a little bit, how you can help with that.
Well, fortunately, I've had plenty of that, and a lot of experience in overcoming obstacles, and getting myself back into a situation to be successful and establish myself at the big league level. Injuries and poor play and all these things, and it worked out for me. But I think at the end of the day, identifying how big an opportunity you're going to have, like you're going to go back out there. Like it's going to take a lot to next guy up here, and that's a really good position to be in. But I think I've worked on a lot of things and developed a lot of strategies over the years, of when things are going poorly and you get sped up and you start to look at all the results over and over again, taking it back 10 steps, going to the 101 version of the building blocks of what make you successful, and then working your way back, checking little boxes one at a time, build back that confidence. Those are all things that are much easier said than done, but I think that with someone kind of asking questions and keeping you there, that it can happen much quicker. And then just when you get the opportunities and identifying where you're at, what your job is at that moment, and knowing that I have two options here. I can either shy away, or I can, treat it like my back's against the wall and there's only one way to go forward. That's what guys getting the job done. That's like a place you need to go to as a relief pitcher. So, and I think there's some guys that have that. And I think the other guys are going to be developing, and they're going to have to find out how they're going to do it. So all of those things, just having those conversations, saying, I see this, maybe you should try this. Maybe we should go back to this. What do you think? And just having those conversations, just talking about it all the time, I think will be where it starts, and then go from there.
Yeah, a reliever in baseball is like a corner in football. You're going to get burnt. You got to get back out there and get ready. Before we let you go, when you look in the mirror, right? How do you like that beard?
It's getting there. I'm trying to get it to grow over the 2 patches on the chin. Not happening very well, but at least it's symmetrical. So I've never tried a beard because I have these massive patches on my chin.
So do I. Right here. I don't grow right here.
Yeah.
So I feel less of a man when I try and grow the beard. So
I have a great mustache, though. So at the end of the day.
So Movember's your month.
Yeah. If I need to trim this up, this can stay, and we'll have something going on. I don't know how much my wife will like that, but she didn't like it the first 3 times I tried it. So, but maybe a little bit of beard will help. I don't know.
Hey, it's Oakland. You can do anything you want.
Yeah, you can do anything. You can be anyone you want.
Hey, we expect a great season from you. A's fans are really excited, and we're excited here on A's Cast Live because we know you're going to be a great guest. And keep doing what you're doing because you're better for the game.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He is going to be a keeper, no question, this season for us on A's Cast Live. All right, we want to thank A's legend Grady Fuson. We want to thank the pitching coach Scott Emerson. We want to thank Brody Brazil, NBC Sports California. We want to thank Kyle Muller, who, by the way, if that didn't excite you, if Soderstrom and Muller's interviews didn't excite you about the future of the A's, I mean, come on. We'd like to thank J.P. Sears. We want to thank Trevor May. We want to thank Tony Kemp. We want to thank Seth Brown.
Ryan
Noda. By the way, we're not selling jeans, but he's a big, good-looking kid.
Yeah, for sure.
I know Moneyball, we're not selling jeans, but I tell you what, he sure looks the part. Big first baseman, can swing it. And you know what he said? Off the air, wink, wink. He goes, man, I can play Gold Glove defense. That's the kind of confidence I want. I want guys who think they can be great. Ryan O thinks he could be. Listen, he was a Dodger prospect, and then they signed Freddie Freeman. You're blocked. You signed Freddie Freeman, you go, oh, he's on the verge of making the big leagues, and you signed Freddie Freeman? He's ecstatic to be. Thank you, Oakland, for taking me Rule 5. I'm excited for Noda. I mean, I'm excited. Seth Brown, fabulous as always. Seth Brown right now and Tony Kemp, truly the leaders in that clubhouse. To have both of them today, that's A's coverage for you right there.
Yeah, it's a great show. Looking forward to tomorrow. The Duke, we're hoping to have Drew Rosinski. We're going to try to track down Ramon Laureano. Zach Geloff is someone I want to grab before.
Yes, we got to get this Geloff. I haven't seen Zach Geloff since he was playing for Stockton against San Jose in San Jose. It was the last time I saw him playing third base. That's the last time I saw Zach Geloff.
2021. That's all.
I got to look at what he looks like. 'Cause last time I saw him, he was in a uniform with a hat. I don't even remember what he looks like. That was 3 years ago.
Yeah, we got to try to get Jace Peterson too.
Tyler Soderstrom, when you walk up behind him, Tyler, I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, he looks like a different guy.
I didn't realize how big Daniel Sousa. We saw him today at Fitch. I'm like, that's Sousa. We just had him yesterday. Yeah, it's way bigger.
Susak's a big kid.
He's a big kid with the catching equipment on.
You can tell he played quarterback. He looks like he could be a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to be it for A's Cast Live here from the field. We'll be back tomorrow, noon Pacific. We're going earlier than advertised at noon. We'll be on from noon to 4 so we can get all it in. Noon to 3. That's it. Noon to 3. We'll be on from noon to 3. That's right. I got it. Yeah. We're an hour ahead here. So we'll be on from noon to 3 to get it all in before we hop back on a plane to come back to the Bay Area. We'll see everybody on tomorrow at noon. Hope you're enjoying all the coverage from spring training.
Unbeatable mileage from Chevron with Techron unlocks all kinds of unbeatable trips. Like to family dinner the next